Chapter 2282. This battle servant is looking for death. Arrogant battle servant, he should be killed. Tear that battle servant alive for a sumptuous meal. The surrounding beasts were momentarily stunned, then exploded. All the beasts in the chaotic battle stared at Du Xiaofu at the same time. Even the instigators, the soul-devouring flood dragon and the heaven-trampling bull, were united in their ferocious gazes as they locked onto Du Xiaofu, killing intent pervading the air. Suddenly, the entire sky darkened as if dark clouds were pressing down, accompanied by a terrifying fiendish aura that swept downwards. The giant bird that first berated Du Xiaofu flapped its wings and swooped down towards Du Xiaofu. Ao! A giant python covered in scales lashed out horizontally. Its scales were eerie and glowed with a bloody light. It even had wings, looking ferocious and intimidating. It opened its bloody mouth and swooped towards Du Xiaofu, as if wanting to swallow Du Xiaofu before the bird did. Evil creature, I'll use your meat to make soup. Today, I'm going to eat to my heart's content. Du Xiaofu's gaze darkened. He reached out with his right hand and grabbed a palm-sized rock in his palm. He threw it viciously at the giant python covered in scales. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure leapt out. He reached out with his left hand and with a flash of light, his figure strangely appeared under the wings of the bird. His left hand clawed directly at the bird's right wing. Die! Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. His small figure was like an elephant compared to an ant, but at this moment he exploded with astonishing strength. He lifted the bird's right wing and swung it fiercely in the air, directly flipping the giant bird in the air and smashing it to the ground like a bird with broken wings. Rumble! The earth shook and the mountains shook. Rocks exploded and the ground cracked continuously. The body of the bird was already dripping with blood. It couldn't be more dead. At the same time, a bloody hole the size of a fist appeared between the eyebrows of the giant python covered in scales. Red and white liquid flowed out as the python lost its vitality. The bird and python were definitely not weak either. They were both at the peak of the beast region and the overlord region. They weren't too far away from the realm region. However, at this moment, the ferocious bird and giant python were killed in such a brutal and overbearing manner. It was especially shocking. With a single throw of a rock, he killed a beast king. With one hand, he tore another demonic beast king down and smashed it into meat paste. What kind of ferocious strength was this? Everyone was stunned, dumbstruck. The surrounding creatures were shocked by how Du Xiaofu had killed the ferocious bird and the giant python in one move. That kind of cruel and tyrannical method also made their hearts tremble for no reason. This battle servant is so savage. Bai Hao and Ho Shuo looked at each other. It was the first time they had seen such a brutal battle servant. Very strong. Bai Ruyan's eyes rippled. That battle servant was too mysterious. Even though she had just seen him attack, he still gave her an unfathomable feeling. Battle servant, you're courting death. How dare you kill members of our beast alliance? You're courting death. Everyone was only stunned for a short moment. Killing 2 demonic beasts wasn't enough to completely intimidate everyone. There were still many young beast kings in the chaotic battle. A human battle servant had killed 2 demonic beasts in front of them. He was so savage and arrogant. How could they tolerate it when there were so many demonic beasts? Evil creatures, if you provoke me again, I'll roast you all into soup. Du Xiaofu stood on the back of the ferocious bird and looked at the group of roaring demonic beasts in front of him. Even with his current cultivation, he was still surrounded by a group of beast region realm demonic beasts. He couldn't help but smile helplessly. Is this battle servant really going to eat those guys? Ho Shuo and Bai Hao looked at each other, speechless. There were so many beast kings, at least a few dozen of them. Was the battle servant really going to eat them all? Could he? Many beast kings were quite strong. Puny battle servant, you're dead meat. The soul-devouring flood dragon, the instigator of all this, shouted. Its huge body shuttled through the void and opened its ferocious mouth, directly pouncing towards Du Xiaofu. The tongue in its huge mouth flickered, and the smell of blood assailed the nostrils. Baleful aura surged, and the aura confined the void. This soul-devouring flood dragon had the strength of a peak domain realm expert. It wanted to swallow Du Xiaofu directly. "Evil creatures, I'll roast you all today," Du Xiaofu shouted, and his figure directly swept out. How could this little flood dragon imprison Du Xiaofu? His figure directly swept out, and instantly appeared behind the flood dragon's huge tail. "Chi-la!" Du Xiaofu stretched out his hand, and claw marks distorted the void to imprison the flood dragon. He swung its huge tail a few times in the void, whistling through the void, and ripples spread out. A human, who was as small as an ant in comparison, was swinging a giant flood dragon in circles. How shocking was this visual impact? It was too ferocious, and it made people's breathing stop and their hair stand on end. The soul-devouring flood dragon's eyes were filled with horror. Its hair stood on end, and a chill climbed out from the depths of its beast soul. "Die!" Du Xiaofu shouted, and used the flood dragon as a long whip weapon. He swung the flood dragon's huge tail at the group of demonic beasts. Bang bang bang! The flood dragon's body was too long. A ferocious monkey and a ferocious wolf couldn't dodge in time, and were smashed into meat paste. The flood dragon's body was also flattened, like a deflated balloon, and it lay in front of the entrance of the ruins dripping with blood. Many people were dumbstruck, and their hair stood on end for no reason. How ferocious was this? Was he still a human? He was even more ferocious than the beasts. "Kill. Roast meat and make soup. I want to eat roast meat. I want to eat too." That was far from the end of what had stunned the surrounding beasts. Loud shouts rang out one after another as figures tore through the air like bolts of lightning. Gee! The tiger's roar shook people's souls, and the sound waves rolled like thunder. The cry of a phoenix entered people's ears, penetrating their primordial spirits, and piercing the beast's souls as it resounded through the void. In a short moment, the figures rushed out, and a huge tiger flapped its wings, ready to pounce. Its body was ink black, and black runes soared into the sky. As it flapped its wings, a terrifying wave of air swept out. One could clearly see a faint golden ripple undulating like a tsunami. It was incomparably domineering, and it caused the ground below to crack and the sea of trees to rise and fall, rolling up huge waves. An expanse of sparkling and translucent green flames covered the entire sky, and there was a loud and clear cry that was like a green sun. Then, an enormous green bird soared in the sky. Its gorgeous tail feathers were suffused with green runes, and it was moving. When it spread its wings, it was agile and dignified, and it revealed the aura of a supreme beast. A Bai-Fong divine bird, dozens of feet in size, flapped its wings in the sky, and a terrifying pressure suddenly descended. It was like a phoenix, a crane, and a monstrous blazing aura, causing the surrounding beast souls to wither. Dark heavenly tiger, Qing Yuan of the Phoenix clan. Bai Rian's delicate body trembled, and her eyes were lifeless. Although the pitch-black tiger was quite strange, she recognized its identity. It was the body of a dark heavenly tiger, and what Little Blue had transformed into was actually the original body of the Blue Luan of the Phoenix clan. Dark heavenly tiger, Qing Yuan, and Qing Yuan, how could Bai Rian not be shocked? Oh my god! At this moment, Bai Hao and Ho Shuo were dumbfounded, and they gasped. Bai Fong divine bird, dark heavenly tiger, and that's Qing Yuan. Everyone was shocked. When the three beasts appeared in the sky, the terrifying pressure brought by the three supreme beasts made countless eyes tremble. All the battle servants' primordial spirits couldn't help but tremble. All the demonic beasts present felt their blood boiling, and their beast souls trembling. The pressure was unstoppable, and they were about to crawl on the ground. The little tiger pounced, and the tiger roared like thunder. Its claws created clouds, and mysterious runes spread out. It had the power to collapse mountains and crack the earth. Its claws tore the void, and its wings swept everything. Bang bang bang, towering trees were broken, and huge rocks were torn apart, and finally turned into powder. The scene was horrifying. It's definitely not an ordinary dark heavenly tiger. This kind of power made by Ruyan's expression change. The dark heavenly tiger was extraordinary, and its roar could move mountains and rivers, and suppress tens of thousands of beasts. Little Blue opened its mouth, and billowing flames accompanied by mysterious runes erupted out like a volcano. The temperature was so high that it made people crawl, and their souls were about to wither. The rolling flames wrapped around a demon beast king at a strange speed. Under the high temperature of the flames, even the demon beast king's soul was shivering. It was too late for it to escape. The surrounding space was covered by the flames, as if it had turned into a sea of fire. The Qing Yuan flapped its wings, and the blue flames spread out in the sky. Its beautiful tail feathers were moving, and its wings were agile and majestic. It showed the aura of a supreme beast, but wherever it passed, it destroyed everything. Du Shaoqing, the little tiger, the Qing Yuan, and Little Blue heard that they were going to roast meat and make soup. They were afraid that there would not be enough to eat, so they immediately joined the battle. Two graceful and incomparably beautiful figures, wrapped in light, shuttled back and forth on the battlefield. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu were also attacking. With their current cultivation, it was easy for them to deal with ordinary demonic beast kings. Seeing Du Xiaofu being besieged, Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu knew that it was not convenient for Du Xiaofu to expose his strength. Naturally, they would not stand by and do nothing. Awu, help! Oh no, it's the Bai Fong divine bird. It's the dark heavenly tiger. Help! In an instant, the world around the ruins was boiling. The demonic beasts kept roaring, and blood mist poured out. The void kept exploding. At this time, the demonic beasts wanted to die, and their beast souls were trembling. They did not expect that a battle servant would attract the Bai Fong divine bird and the dark heavenly tiger. It was too late for regrets. The other party had no intention of letting them go. Bang bang bang. Du Xiaofu flew across the sky, throwing out punches and palms. Wherever he went, the demonic beasts' bodies would explode. Blood splattered all over the sky. He was extremely domineering and ferocious. There were only a few dozen demonic beasts. They were not enough for Du Xiaofu, Little Blue, and the little tiger to kill. In just a few breaths, the entrance of the ruins was covered with corpses. The demonic beast's blood dyed the mountain red. The murderous aura was terrifying. Chapter 2283. Oh my God, are all the creatures in the outside world so cruel? Bai Kun and Ho Shuo took a deep breath. Their throats were burning as they swallowed their saliva. Those fellows were definitely not ordinary ferocious. Not only the battle servant was cruel, but Little Qing, Little Tiger, and the others were also cruel. Retreat, retreat quickly. The monsters and battle servants in the distance retreated a little after witnessing the brutal scene of the kings. None of them dared to provoke them. Search. When the last ferocious beast fell, Du Shaoqing and Little Tiger had already withdrawn their true forms. They shuttled through the densely packed small mountain of ferocious beast corpses on the ground, looking for Qiankuan bags, digging out secret bones, and cutting out hard materials from the beast's body. These could be sold at a high price and were all top-quality materials for refining weapons. Qing Yuan, Ouyang Shuang, and Dai Xingyu were already used to it. They joined in and did not waste anything. Gulp, gasps of cold air could be heard all around, and the sound of swallowing could be heard. Everyone's blood ran cold, and their hair stood on end. Dozens of monster kings were killed in a short time. Even their beast souls and primordial spirits did not escape. Looking at those figures digging out bones and cutting up corpses, were they really the divine birds of Bai Fong, Qing Yuan, and Dark Sky Tiger? Why did they look like a group of well-trained bandits? Boom! A shocking explosion came from the entrance of the relic. The distorted void shattered, and the sky was filled with colorful lights. Energy fluctuations surged, and an ancient aura spread across the sky. The broken formation is broken. The relic mansion has been completely opened. There must be treasures. The shocked and surprised eyes came back to their senses, and they immediately turned red. The relic mansion had been opened, and everyone came for it. This was their real purpose. The relic mansion had been opened, and there must be treasures and great rewards. This relic is ours. Whoever dares to take a step closer will be killed without mercy. Looking at the relic mansion, Du Xiaofu's eyes moved. His voice was like thunder, shaking the void in all directions. Such a voice fell into the ears of every living creature, like a heavy hammer from the heavens. This was an ancient mansion, and Du Xiaofu didn't want to separate people. Anyway, now that the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan was here, the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan would take the blame. Who would dare to cause trouble for them? What is the meaning of this? The Beast Kings and Battle Servants, who were about to enter the ruins with bloodshot eyes, changed their expressions upon hearing this. Some living beings had already charged out. When they heard Du Xiaofu's words, they froze in the air and their expressions changed drastically. Didn't you hear clearly? These ruins are ours. Whoever dares to take a step closer will be killed without mercy. The little tiger let out a tiger roar, and the sound waves rolled up like stormy waves beating the shore. Whoever dares to come near, kill. Du Xiaoqing said. The scorching aura of the Bai Fong Divine Bird spread out without holding back. The scorching heat evaporated the air. Du Xiaofu's figure was like a bolt of lightning, and he had already taken the lead to enter the mansion. The red-bone horse monkey quietly released his primordial spirit. Under the influence of his talent, Du Xiaofu immediately knew where the treasures were. Take everything. Du Xiaoqing and the little tiger followed closely behind, and their hands naturally took out their qiankuan bags. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu didn't fall behind. Light flickered in their slender hands, and their qiankuan bags were already prepared. Soon after, the numerous ferocious gazes from all around the ruins were dumbfounded as they saw a couple of figures shuttling back and forth within the ancient ruins. They were packing up everything and stuffing whatever they could grab into their qiankuan bags. The only thing missing was the brick. What is the meaning of this? Are they going to take it all for themselves? This is too much. They want to take it all for themselves. This is too much. Lower your voice. Lord Bai Rian of the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan is there. Do they want to die? What? Lord Bai Rian is also there. Why is the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan so overbearing? Are they going to take everything in the ruins for themselves? The surrounding demonic beasts were furious, and their eyes were blazing with hatred. However, none of the creatures dared to approach. The previous scene was too intimidating, and no one wanted to die. Those were the Bai Fong Divine Bird, the Phoenix, the Green Luan, and the Dark Sky Tiger. They couldn't afford to offend them. Some people saw Bai Rian and trembled in fear. With the experts of the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan present, they didn't dare to be presumptuous. This is too much. This is too much. This is the behavior of bandits. The surrounding demonic beasts were indignant and angry, but they could only express their displeasure in a low voice. They didn't dare to approach or speak loudly. With Bai Rian present, they were afraid of offending the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan. At this moment, Bai Rian's face was full of shock, and she couldn't recover from her shock. Looking at Du Xiaoqing, who was shuttling back and forth, Bai Rian sighed in her heart. How did this Bai Fong Divine Bird grow up in the outside world? How did it grow up in the outside world? The pure-blooded descendant of the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan, the descendant of the Sovereign Beast Clan. How could she behave like a bandit? If this news were to spread, the entire Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan would be seen in a new light. The Phoenix, the Green Luan, and the Dark Sky Tiger were all the descendants of the Sovereign Beast Clan, but they were all the same. Could it be that all the creatures in the outside world were like this? At this moment, Bai Rian secretly decided that no matter what, when Du Xiaoqing returned to the clan, she would teach her well. Cultivation skills, so many cultivation skills. Ancient array record. Ancient martial techniques. Precious elixirs. Elixirs, so many domain-grade elixirs. They are comparable to sacred elixirs. Du Xiaofu shuttled back and forth in the ruins. He didn't have time to read carefully, so he packed everything up. He didn't know who this ruins belonged to. Although Du Xiaofu didn't find any extraordinary treasures that could cause a phenomenon, there were a large number of cultivation skills, martial techniques, elixirs, and other cultivation resources. These cultivation resources were all from before the Dragon Phoenix tribulation. How shocking was it? It was equivalent to turning a corner of the Dragon Phoenix tribulation. I'm rich, I'm rich now. Du Xiaofu was secretly delighted. He had already changed 2 cosmos bags. Under the circumstances where he didn't have time to look carefully, he could only take whatever he saw. As long as it was valuable, he couldn't pass it. Du Xiaoqing and the little tiger were not much worse than Du Xiaofu. They took whatever they could get their hands on. Just like that, under the furious crimson eyes outside the ruins, Du Xiaofu and the others walked out of the ruins after about 10 minutes. Du Xiaofu knew that there shouldn't be anything left behind in the ruins from the red-bone horse monkey's primordial spirit. He walked out with satisfaction. The 6 of them walked out from the remains of the mansion with smiles in their eyes. All right, let's eat the meat and stew the soup. Don't waste it. Looking at the piles of demonic beast corpses outside the ruins, many of them had extraordinary bloodlines and were great nourishment. Du Xiaofu wanted to nourish himself. The key was that he knew that these demonic beast corpses and some spiritual herbs were extremely beneficial to Ouyang Shuang, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Qing Wan, Little Qing, and the others. I'll go pack. I'll go set up the grill. Hearing that they were going to roast meat and stew soup, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and Qing Wan's eyes immediately lit up. They didn't need Du Xiaofu's instructions at all and began to divide the work tacitly. Then, at the entrance of the ruins, Du Xiaoqing and Qing Wan washed the demonic beast meat and specifically picked those with high bloodlines to start with. However, Du Xiaoqing and Qing Wan didn't start with those ugly demonic beasts that looked like humans. It was mainly because Du Xiaofu, Ouyang Shuang, and Dai Xingyu couldn't do it. Little Tiger had also moved a huge rock over and set up the grill and stove. Taking out the special cauldron, Du Xiaofu started a fire to stew the soup and barbecue. Still the same, Du Xiaofu added a lot of spiritual herbs and even treasured herbs into the soup. The level of those treasured herbs made the demonic beasts in the surroundings secretly tremble. Multicolored light filled the air, energy fluctuated, and medicinal fragrance wafted for hundreds of miles. Not long after, the demonic beast meat was fragrant, and oil was sizzling out. The fragrance in the golden-brown color soared into the sky. In addition to the spices that Du Xiaofu sprinkled, the smell had already made Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Qing Wan, and Dai Xingyu drool. It was just that this scene fell into the eyes of the demonic beasts in the surroundings, and they were all creeped out for no reason. Bai Ruyan, Bai Kei, Ho Shu'a, and the battle servants of the Bai Fang Divine Bird clan were all dumbfounded at this moment and couldn't recover their senses. Is she really a descendant of our Bai Fang clan? Bai Ruyan couldn't help but doubt. If she didn't see it with her own eyes, she would never believe that the beautiful woman who was like a bandit who was familiar with the process would be a pure-blooded descendant of the Bai Fang clan. Eat! When the aroma of the roasted meat reached its strongest point, Du Xiaofu tore off a piece of the best flood dragon meat and handed it to Ouyang Shuang with a smile, showing that he was trying to please Ouyang Shuang. Ouyang Shuang didn't stand on ceremony. In terms of demonic beast meat, she had learned a lot from the sacred array child, Zhen Qingchun. Every time, she could make her master, crazy old man, drool. It smells so good. Little Tiger, Du Xiaoqing, Qing Wan, Little Qing, and Dai Xingyu had already started eating heartily. They ate the meat and drank the soup. Multicolored light filled their mouths as they ate heartily. Instantly, the image of the Bai Fang Divine Bird, Phoenix, Qing Wan, and Dark Heavenly Tiger disappeared without a trace. Dai Xingyu and Ouyang Shuang were not much different. Oh my God, they are really eating. This is a provocation. Those battle servants are provoking our beast alliance. The heaven-trampling bull, soul-devouring flood dragon king, and other kings are stewing and roasting their meat. This is too much. They are provoking our beast alliance. Lower your voice. The Bai Fang Divine Bird clan and Dark Heavenly Tiger clan are originally from the Beast Alliance. Those battle servants are also eating. This is a great disrespect to our Beast Alliance. This is a provocation to the entire Beast Alliance. This is too arrogant. Especially that battle servant. He is so savage and arrogant. This is all his idea. He is looking down on us. The discussions around grew louder and louder. More and more demonic beasts were getting angrier. This was the Beast Alliance's territory. Roasting the demonic beast king's meat and stewing it into soup in front of them was a blatant provocation. They couldn't tolerate it. Chapter 2284. However, under this absolute intimidation, no one dared to step out. Some demonic beasts felt their hair stand on end. Those guys were really eating demonic beasts. If they provoked them, they would be eaten. Their bones and skin would be roasted and stewed. Just the thought of it made their souls tremble. But their roasted meat smells so good. It should be delicious. Suddenly, such a sentence came from an unknown corner. I've never eaten roasted meat like this before. It looks delicious. Faintly, another such voice sounded out as if it was caught off guard. That pot of soup has a lot of spirit herbs and treasured herbs. It should be very nutritious. Those guys really know how to eat. Two more similar voices rang out from two different corners, landing in the ears of many creatures. Gulp! Suddenly, the sound of saliva being swallowed could be heard. On a mountain not far away, Byrian's face was filled with astonishment. She was in a daze. It smells so good. Baikun and Ho Shuo raised their heads slightly. Smelling the fragrance, they couldn't help but lick the saliva from the corners of their mouths. Baikun, Ho Shuo, come and eat. It smells so good, Du Xiaoqing shouted. Okay. Baikun and Ho Shuo couldn't help but rush over. Byrian wanted to stop them but stopped. Her red lips curled into a bitter smile. In the end, she didn't say anything. Delicious, so delicious. Roasted meat is so delicious. Unbelievable. Baikun and Ho Shuo said. They didn't know there was such delicious meat. Sister Ruyan, do you want to try? It's so delicious. Baikun and Ho Shuo carried the treasured soup and roasted meat to Byrian. You guys eat. I don't need it. Byrian shook her head. She didn't know why, but she felt as if she was swallowing her saliva. That fragrance was too fragrant, as if it had a great temptation. Then she simply turned around. She was a descendant of the Bai Fong clan. How could she do this? Bai Hao and Ho Shuo were helpless. They knew that Sister Ruyan was a woman who didn't eat the food of mortals. Come, you guys come and eat as well, Du Xiaofu said to the battle servants. The battle servants couldn't help but drool. They deliberately didn't look in that direction, but the aroma of the roasted meat and treasure soup was too tempting. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the battle servants moved slightly, but they still stood straight, not daring to move. Go and eat. Bai Qi and Ho Shuo said to the battle servants. Thank you, young master. With Baikun and Ho Shuo speaking up and seeing that Byrian didn't say much, the battle servants didn't hold back either. It smells so good. Then, there were battle servants whose eyes lit up. This smell was just too fragrant. This is too much. This is an absolute provocation. Everyone was furious. Vicious eyes were scarlet red one after another. Those battle servants were too unbridled. What's with the noise? If you make any more noise, I'll eat all of you. Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. The group of demonic beasts rustled and chattered. Although their voices weren't loud, it was still quite annoying. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the demonic beasts' expressions changed. They immediately shut their mouths and involuntarily retreated. Swoosh swoosh, in the void, there was the sound of wind breaking. A group of people broke through the void. Their aura was very vast, attracting the attention of everyone below. There were quite a few people in this group. There was a young man in the lead. He had a slender body, a handsome face, and a pair of dark brown eyes that emitted an enchanting luster. Lord Qinglong. That's Lord Qinglong of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon race. A demonic beast king was pleasantly surprised as he recognized the person. That was Qinglong of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon race, the 6th leading figure among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Byrian lifted her eyes. Her dark red hair fluttered in the wind. Her fiery red dress fluttered slightly. Her figure swayed gently, moving one's soul. When Qinglong saw Byrian, he also saw Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoqing, and the rest who were eating heartily. Finally, he looked at the mansion in the ruins. Lord Qinglong, these battle servants monopolized the treasures in the mansion. They killed the soul-devouring flood dragon, heaven-trampling bull, and the rest in barbecued meat to drink soup. Lord Qinglong, these battle servants are too arrogant. A demonic beast king plucked up his courage and said to Qinglong. However, he didn't dare to mention the Bai Feng divine bird race or the dark sky tiger. Instead, he pushed all the blame to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu didn't pay any attention to the surrounding comments. He continued to eat and drink soup heartily. Let's go. Qinglong looked below and his eyes moved slightly. He didn't say anything and left directly. Why did Lord Qinglong leave? Some demonic beasts were puzzled. They thought Qinglong would stand out and didn't expect Qinglong to turn around and leave directly. The Bai Feng divine bird race is also here. Qinglong doesn't want to get involved. Yesterday, Lord Qinglong and Bai Rian met and agreed to fight Lord Xie Xie or Lord Qi Yan at the Beast Alliance meeting. A voice spoke out and made a guess. I'm full. After a while, Du Xiaofu patted his stomach and burped. These demonic beast descendants from before the Dragon Phoenix tribulation did have good meat. It was like wild meat and was much better than those outside. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu were also full and regained their charming temperament. They were completely different from the way they were eating just now. Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Qing Wan, Bai Ho, and Xie Shuo finished all the remaining soup and barbecued meat after a while and smiled in satisfaction. Let's go back to the tribe, Bai Rian said. She couldn't hold it in anymore. Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoqing, and the rest leaped up and chased after them. Du Xiaofu was in a very good mood after eating and drinking to his heart's content and obtaining the collection of a mansion in ruins. It was just that the journey was going to be rather dull again. Fortunately, from Bai Ho and Xie Shuo, Du Xiaofu learned that the Beast King mountain range was not far ahead. The Bai Feng divine bird race was in the Beast King mountain range. However, although it was not far, with everyone's speed, it would still take more than half a day. After those battle servants ate the meat and drank the soup, they witnessed Du Xiaofu's strength and were much more enthusiastic and respectful towards Du Xiaofu. In the ruins of the mansion, everyone had been delayed for a long time, and it was nightfall again. It's not safe to travel at night. This place is extremely dangerous. After resting for a night, we can reach the Beast King mountain tomorrow. On the mountain peak, Bai Rian landed and said to everyone. There were many dangerous places in this place, and the route they took was a safe one. However, when night fell, there would be strange things. Often, there would be experts who would get lost for no reason, and there were very few who could survive. Therefore, there were very few creatures who would travel at night. With Du Xiaoqing around, Bai Rian didn't want any accidents to happen. Anyway, it was not far away. There was enough time to reach the Beast Alliance convention. Then let's rest. Du Xiaofu said. Even the Bai Feng divine bird race said so. This place was definitely not simple. There would be danger. Safety was the most important. Night fell and everyone rested. Du Xiaoqing, Dai Xingyu, Little Tiger, Bai Ho, and the battle servants sat cross-legged and began to refine the energy contained in the soup in their bodies into pure celestial qi. Many figures were wrapped in light, flickering and dazzling. Their auras were vigorous. On the mountain peak, there was a seal set up by Bai Rian. It was filled with the aura of the Bai Feng divine bird race. No one dared to approach it. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged. The energy contained in the soup was not worth mentioning at his current cultivation level. It was like a drop of water in the ocean. It was not very useful. With his eyes closed, Du Xiaofu was comprehending the 3 sword moves that he obtained from the immemorial sacred artifact's artifact soul. Du Xiaofu was immersed in the sword moves. He clearly felt that he had comprehended most of them, but when he executed them, it was like drawing a tiger. He could draw the skin but not the bones. I really can't comprehend them. Du Xiaofu's stubborn temper rose. He didn't believe that he couldn't comprehend them. He began to comprehend them together with the tyrannical sword principle that he comprehended from the ancient stone tablet. Swish, swish, the light was dazzling. Du Xiaofu's hand seals were formed. Occasionally, there would be a flash of sword light at his fingertips. After that, he sank into deep thought. On the mountain peak, Bai Rian sat cross-legged. Her hair fluttered in the wind, emitting a faint light. Under the moonlight, She was like a goddess of the mountain range. Bai Rian's gaze was fixed on Du Xiaofu. Such a battle servant didn't have a good appearance, but the formless aura gave Bai Rian an indescribable feeling. Along the way, she had secretly probed many times, but she didn't get any useful information. It made him seem even more mysterious. This battle servant is mysterious and unfathomable. Bai Rian muttered in her heart. No wonder Qing Long wanted to target him. If such a battle servant was really a battle servant, then the clan would definitely value him highly after he returned to the clan. Time passed very quickly as everyone was cultivating. After a night, the morning sun dyed the sky red, and the red clouds of dawn covered the entire sky. Huff, huff, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Dai Xingyu, Ouyang Shuang, and the others retracted their hand seals and exhaled. The aura on their bodies shook the surroundings. All of them had gained a lot of benefits. Du Xiaofu opened his eyes. His clear eyes were clear. He frowned slightly. There wasn't much progress in the comprehension of sword moves. He felt that something was missing. It felt like he was stuck at a bottleneck. Let's slowly comprehend. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. He stretched his body and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Let's go. It's not far. We'll reach the clan in a few hours. Bai Rian and a few battle servants were already waiting at the side. Hearing that, Du Xiaoqing was a little nervous. They were going to reach the Bai Fang Divine Bird clan today. At that time, would they be able to find out about their origins? Then, everyone continued to set off. Along the way, they saw many creatures heading towards the Beast King mountain range. For hours later, a vast mountain range appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The Beast King mountain range is in front. We'll be able to go home soon. Bai Kun and Ho Shuo were delighted. I didn't expect to meet Sister Rian. Long time no see. A voice was heard. When the voice fell, 3 beautiful figures appeared in the void in front of them. There were only 3 people, 3 young women. The first was a beautiful figure with a graceful figure. Her fiery red hair was even more gorgeous than her white hair. Her long hair cascaded down her shoulders to her slender waist as if she had no bones. Together with her perky breasts, it formed a fiery arc. The woman was very young. She wore tight clothes. Her lower body was curvy. Her sleeves were very short, revealing her ivory white arms. Her skin seemed to be fragile. Her pitch-black eyes were quick-witted. There was a kind of charm in her valiance. Such a woman was too beautiful. She could move the hearts of all men. In particular, she had an extremely unique temperament. She was charming and valiant. Her temperament was different from Ouyang Shuang, Dongli Qingqing, and Su Muxin. However, each of them had their own merits and there wasn't much difference. Behind the woman, there were 2 other women who looked to be in their mid-20s. They looked exactly the same. Although they couldn't be compared to the woman in front of them, they were definitely beauties. Their clothes were fluttering in the wind. Their curves were exquisite and they were tall. Especially when the 2 women stood together, they gave off a unique kind of attractiveness. Great sovereign Nirvana realm. They are immortal. They are not inferior to Qing Long. Du Xiaofu's gaze fell on the charming red-haired woman in front of him. Her concealed aura couldn't escape Du Xiaofu's prying eyes. She was a young sovereign of the Beast Clan. She wasn't inferior to Qing Long, so it's Sister Xiaoyao. You came so early. The Beast Union meeting will only start in 3 days. Seeing the charming woman, Bai Rian smiled. There was a slight difference in her eyes. How could Xiaoyao meet me so coincidentally? She must have been waiting outside the Beast King mountain range. De Zhang, continue writing. Chapter 2285. Xiaoyao from the Overlord Python clan. Hearing that, Du Xiaofu did not leave any trace. He had learned a lot about the Beast Alliance from Bai Kun and Ho Shuo yesterday. Among the top 10 young powerhouses of the Beast Alliance, there was Xiaoyao. Xiaoyao was the young supreme of the Overlord Python clan, ranked 5th among the top 10 young powerhouses of the Beast Alliance, above Qing Long. It's good that you're here early. To be honest, there's something I need to tell you. Xiaoyao looked at Bai Rian and said, Please go ahead, Sister Xiaoyao. Bai Rian did not move, but smiled. Actually, I want to ask about the people behind you. Xiao Yao also smiled. Her eyes swept across the crowd and landed on Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Ouyang Shuang, and the others. Her face was beautiful as she said with a smile, I heard that a few days ago, you had eaten meat with the human youth who killed Lu Yu. Do you know where that human is now? Hearing that, Du Xiaoqing, Ouyang Shuang, Qing Wan, and Xiaoqing's expressions changed. This woman called Xiao Yao was here for them. Du Xiaofu did not leave any trace. It seemed that this Xiao Yao was not simple. She actually found Du Xiaoqing. Bai Rian's expression also changed. She had come out this time to find out about that mysterious human youth, but she did not know that Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and the others had drunk and eaten meat with that human. Xiaoqing, Sister Xiao Yao asked you a question. Answer whatever you have. Bai Rian smiled and said to Du Xiaoqing, You mean that human youth? He was the one who told us to eat barbecued meat. It tasted good. He even asked Lu Limo from the human race to eat with him. After that, I don't know where that human went. I heard that he was chased by the Beast Alliance's Saint Beast Realm powerhouses. I think he's dead. Du Xiaoqing was not stupid. She did not leave any trace. Her expression was relaxed, and she had a smile on her face. She was like a flower of the night, enchanting and holy. Compared to Xiao Yao, each had their own merits. However, she was not inferior. She was less mature, but more holy. According to the news I received, that human is very strange. He runs very quickly. The Saint Beast Realm could not catch him. Xiao Yao looked at Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and the others. Xiao Yao looked at Du Xiaoqing, and the others. Little Tiger, Little Tiger, Qing, and the Little Tiger. Little, Xiao, and Qing. Little Yao Cloud, this. Xiao loses? Yao's losins Lu, Yang, Xiao Yang is. Haha, I don't want to borrow anything. I just want to find that human youth. Xiao Yao giggled at Du Xiaoqing and said, I have some tricks. You have been in contact with that human youth. Let me check your beast soul and I will know where he is. I promise I won't hurt your beast soul. I seldom ask people for help. You won't refuse, right? Du Xiaoqing, Ouyang Shuang, Dai Xingyu, and the others all changed their expressions. Xiao Yao did not believe Xiao Yao and wanted to search for the beast soul. Bai Rian's eyes also darkened. She looked at Xiao Yao and said in a cold voice, Xiao Yao, don't go too far. She is a disciple of the Bai Fong clan. Don't be angry, Sister Rian. I said I won't hurt her beast soul. I am very interested in that human youth, so I have to do this. Please forgive me, Sister Rian. Xiao Yao looked at Bai Rian and said, Then I have to see the strength of the Overlord Python clan. Bai Rian spoke. Xiao Yao was clearly intentionally provoking her. A blazing aura abruptly gushed forth from her body, causing her hair to flutter in the wind as her skirt fluttered in the wind. Although Bai Rian's ranking was not as high as Xiao Yao's, she was not weak. Not to mention that Du Xiaoqing was a pure-blood descendant of the Bai Fong clan. Even if she was a disciple of the Bai Fong clan, she would not allow anyone to search for the beast soul. You are really annoying. Why do you have to find that human? I heard that he likes to eat snake meat. You are a member of the Overlord Python clan, right? Be careful that he stews you into soup. Then it will be too late for regrets, Du Xiaoqing said. She knew that if Bai Rian fought with Xiao Yao, Bai Rian would be at a disadvantage. Hearing Du Xiaoqing's words, Xiao Yao was slightly stunned. How dare you? Behind Xiao Yao, the two twin girls immediately berated in unison as they stared at Du Xiaoqing. Battle servant, you are so arrogant. Unfortunately, I don't eat humans. Otherwise, I would eat you. Du Xiaoqing glared at the twin girls. They were battle servants and had strong qi, but she was not afraid. Try me. The twin girls were angry and stepped forward. Two strong qi immediately swept out. They were both at the peak of the bounded domain realm. They were Xiao Yao's battle servants. Xiao Yao valued them the most. The two girls were twins and had an impeccable tacit understanding. When the two girls joined forces, their power would increase exponentially. How dare you? Your master is talking. Why are you talking? You don't look like battle servants. Du Xiaofu said and stepped forward, looking at the two beautiful girls. Who are you? The twin girls were stunned and looked at Du Xiaofu with displeasure. Although they were battle servants, they were highly valued by Xiao Yao. Coupled with their talent, their status outside was not ordinary. I am also a battle servant. Du Xiaofu looked at the two girls and said seriously, You are courting death. The twin girls felt that they were being ridiculed and their faces darkened at the same time. As soon as they finished speaking, the girl on the left was already in front of Du Xiaofu like lightning. Her body was wrapped in light. Boom! The girl's hand seals had already been formed. A palm print in her slender hand erupted with dazzling splendor. Mysterious runes fluctuated and it was as if a monstrous ferocious beast was about to break through the air. Its power was astonishing. The girl on the right also arrived. She clenched her 5 fingers and punched out. A dazzling light spilled in front of her fist. Her chi surged like a torrential flood. There were 2 graceful figures and 2 beautiful girls. Their seemingly delicate figures seemed to contain terrifying energy. One was above the other, and the other was below the other. Their coordination was flawless. Too weak. Du Xiaofu's expression did not change. These 2 girls were really arrogant. It seemed that like battle servants were like their master. Break! With a loud shout, Du Xiaofu's figure shot through the air. It was simple and direct. He flicked his sleeve and slapped out with a palm print. A ripple of energy swept out in all directions. Enormous waves surged into the sky while space warped. The ground below cracked while huge rocks exploded. Bang! Bang! The twin girls were blasted away. Their hair was disheveled while they spat out blood. Their figures fell from midair and smashed into the cracks in the ground. It's Xiao Yao. By Ruyin of the Inferno Divine Bird Clan. Such a commotion drew the attention of the living beings in the surroundings. The 2 girls crawled up from the ground in a sorry state. Blood dyed their clothes red, their faces were ghastly pale, and their gazes were filled with shock. They had never imagined that their joint forces would actually be unable to resist a single move. Their opponent was so strong. Bai Ruyin's expression was calm. This battle servant seemed more and more unfathomable to her. Even an ordinary Overlord Realm cultivator would probably be unable to defeat Xiao Yao's 2 battle servants with a single move. Xiao Yao gazed at Du Xiaofu with absolute surprise in her eyes. Her strongest battle servant had actually been unable to withstand a single blow. How could she not be moved? Since you injured my battle servants, then I'll take you as compensation. As soon as she finished speaking, Xiao Yao's beautiful figure flashed out and pounced towards Du Xiaofu. Since she had yet to find that human young man, this battle servant before her seemed to be not bad. If she could take this battle servant, she would probably gain quite a bit during the Beast Alliance meeting. Du Xiaofu was moved. He naturally didn't take the undying and imperishable realm seriously, but his identity would probably be exposed if he made a move. Xiao Yao, you've gone too far. Right at this moment, Bai Ruyin attacked. She flew into the air while blazing talismans interweaved with each other. The image of an Inferno Divine Bird appeared behind her. It was blazing and destructive as it enveloped Xiao Yao. Ruyin, you're not a match for me. At this moment, Xiao Yao's bearing immediately became domineering. There was no longer a smile on her face while her eyes glowed. Her graceful figure was like a nimble snake in the air as she twisted through space in an unbelievable trajectory and directly avoided Bai Ruyin's attack. At the same time, a resplendent ray of light shot towards Bai Ruyin from her slender hand. Chapter 2286. I'll ask for your advice first. Bai Ruyin said in a low voice. Blazing green and red flames rose from her body. It was as if her graceful body was bathed in flames. The folds of her fiery red dress were like flames. Light flowed through the air. Her aura soared into the sky. Her temperament became completely different in an instant. There were fluctuations of flames that collided with the former. Boom! The two collided, and the void rumbled. Runes shattered, and energy surged in all directions. Sand and stones were stirred up below, and the ground cracked. Rumble! At the same time, Xiao Yao continued to attack. His slender hand stretched across the sky and pushed out a palm. His aura was domineering, and there was the sound of wind and thunder. Accompanied by blazing light, his aura was very terrifying. Bai Ruyan was moved. She had fought with Xiao Yao before, and now that they were fighting again, she knew that Xiao Yao's improvement was astonishing. Originally, she thought that she had improved a lot and obtained many opportunities over the years. Perhaps she could fight with Xiao Yao. But now, Bai Ruyan's heart was in turmoil. Xiao Yao had also become stronger over the years. Qi La, torrential green and red flames surged. Bai Ruyan's slender hand brushed past, and flames engulfed Xiao Yao's body. The high temperature of the flames obliterated Xiao Yao's palm. In the battle between the two women, one was like an otherworldly goddess, and the other was like a tyrannical and bewitching witch. Every movement of hers was like a fairy dancing, graceful and moving. However, behind her was destruction. Waves of terrifying energy radiance erupted, shaking the void. That's Xiao Yao and Bai Ruyan. Such a battle shook the surroundings, and immediately attracted a large number of onlookers. Xiao Yao was still charming, but his aura was domineering now. Bai Ruyan's strength was also not what it used to be. She had improved a lot, and she was no longer careless. Her ivory arms moved, and mysterious runes surged out, enveloping her alluring body. At the same time, a giant python condensed from runes roared and rushed out from between her hands. Bai Ruyan formed a hand seal, and the runes erupted. A divine bird phantom flapped its wings and flew out, directly exchanging blows. Rumble! Resplendent runes erupted, and the void exploded. Torrential heat and domineering energy surged out. The void exploded, and the blazing flames and domineering energy swept out. Waves appeared in the void, and the two beautiful figures were blown back. However, Bai Ruyan was knocked back far away, and her face was pale. Xiao Tian was pushed back, but he quickly stabilized his body. His eyes began to emit a special light, and there were bright talisman runes flickering in his palm. Accompanied by a mysterious mist, the surrounding void began to blur. Buzz! In an instant, the onlookers seemed to have heard the sound of wind and thunder. Xiao Yao's palm was so powerful that the people and beast souls could not help but tremble. Tyrant Python King Trembling Seal. Xiao Yao tapped the air with her foot and her beautiful figure leaped into the air. She pushed out with her palm and the palm print exploded. Mysterious talisman runes flashed and covered a large area of the void, sealing off the surroundings. Strong winds blew. Wherever this palm print passed through, large swathes of the void would silently shatter, revealing traces of a vacuum. Overlord Python King Trembling Seal. This is the ultimate move of the Overlord Python. Someone among the spectators in the distance cried out in surprise. The ultimate move of the Overlord Python clan was no small matter. Bai Ruyan gritted her teeth slightly. Xiao Yao was still above her. She had to go all out. Xiao Yao, do you want to fight in advance? Suddenly, such a shout rang out in the sky. A figure descended like a bolt of lightning. The azure-red flames were unleashed in an instant, forming a storm of azure-red flames. The terrifyingly high temperature incinerated the surrounding space into nothingness. Boom! In the green and red flaming storm, a fist print rushed out like a meteorite. The blazing green and red flames were crystal clear and condensed like lava from a volcano. Bang! The sound was like thunder, and the void trembled. Mighty energy soared into the sky, dazzling the surrounding onlookers. They were extremely shocked. Two figures retreated. Under Xiao Yao's feet, the void trembled. Her face had already changed. A muscular figure was also retreating. The flames under his feet filled the void. Green and red light gushed out of his eyes like burning flames. With a hint of coldness, he looked at Xiao Yao and said, "If you want to fight in advance, I'll accompany you." Blackmail. Looking at the man who had suddenly appeared, Xiao Yao's expression changed. She glanced at Bai Ruyan, Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoqing, and the others. Her beautiful eyes flickered secretly. "Forget it. I'll save it for the Beast Alliance meeting. Why waste my energy first?" In an instant, Xiao Yao was at ease again. Her face was full of smiles. "I'll make you pay for this at the Beast Alliance meeting." The man who was called Blackmail spoke. His voice was low and shook the void. "Is that so?" Xiao Yao smiled. Then she waved her hand and brought the two battered female battle servants who had already leaped from the ground into the Beast King mountain range. Looking at Xiao Yao's back, Blackmail turned around. His long green hair was shoulder length. His body was muscular, and his face was serious. He gave people a feeling that he was emotionless. Especially his eyes, they were like volcanoes. They were extremely terrifying. Brother Blackmail. Bai Kun and Blackmail were pleasantly surprised when they saw the man. They immediately walked up. "It's Lord Blackmail." No wonder Xiao Yao retreated. Lord Blackmail is ranked 4th among the top 10 experts of the younger generation. He's higher than Xiao Yao. The living beings around were shocked. Many of the main characters of the Beast Alliance meeting had already appeared. How could they not be shocked? Not bad. Du Xiaofu sized up Blackmail. He already had a rough idea. Tianzi was not much weaker than Yelu Han and Dugu Fenshin. In the Bai Fang Divine Bird clan, there were two people who were ranked 4th and 1st among the top 10 experts of the younger generation in the Beast Alliance. They were called Blackmail and Qi Yen, respectively. It was enough to show that this clan was not simple. "Brother Blackmail, why are you here?" Bai Rian secretly heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Blackmail. She was also surprised to see Blackmail here. "The clan received your message. A pure-blooded descendant of our clan has returned. The elders are very shocked. Recently, a human youth appeared nearby. They were afraid that something might happen along the way. The clan leader specially ordered me to come out of seclusion to welcome you," Blackmail said to Du Xiaoqing. He restrained his aura and calmed down. His gaze was sizing up Bai Rian, Qing Wan, Little Qing, and Du Xiaofu. Bai Rian was very shocked. For this Beast Alliance meeting, almost all the top 10 experts were in seclusion for their final sprint. Yet, the clan leader actually ordered Brother Blackmail to come out of seclusion to welcome them. It was enough to show how important this was to the clan. The degree of importance even exceeded her expectations. "You must be Du Xiaoqing. Welcome back. The clan leader and elders are already waiting for you." Blackmail's gaze finally landed on Du Xiaoqing. His seemingly emotionless face revealed some gentleness. Chapter 2287. Du Xiaoqing nodded slightly. Her eyes were fixed on the mountain range in front of her. There was a familiar aura there, and it was getting closer and closer. Bai Rian's expression changed. Not only did the clan send Brother Jiao Xie to welcome them personally, but the clan and the elders were also waiting. Everything was not simple. Could it be that Little Qing, who had returned from the outside world, had some secrets? "Let's go back to the clan," Jiao Xie said. Du Xiaoqing looked at Du Xiaofu. Her heart was filled with anticipation. Du Xiaofu nodded silently. They were about to reach the Bai Fang Divine Bird clan. He hoped that he could find out about Little Qing's origins there. Whoosh whoosh, the group flew into the air and entered the Beast King mountain range. This was already the entrance of the Bai Fang Divine Bird clan. With Jiao Xie and Bai Rian there was no danger along the way. Because of the Beast Alliance meeting, there were many disciples of the Bai Fang Divine Bird clan along the way, welcoming and guiding the participants to their destination. The mountain range was lush and green, and the energy of heaven and earth was shockingly rich. This was a land of treasure. For hours later, in the center of the Beast King mountain range, a huge ancient city stood in front of them. It was grand and majestic. Even from far away in the void, they could feel a majestic aura. The closer they got, the more they felt that the huge city was incomparably huge and exuded an ancient aura. At the foot of the ancient city, there were many creatures. There were strong demonic beasts and battle servants. Many of them had powerful auras. There were also demonic beasts that did not transform into human form. However, they did not reveal their largest bodies either. They only transformed into a few dozen feet in size and waited in line to enter the city. Some of the demonic beast kings had powerful auras and were extraordinary. There were many battle servants and other demonic beasts following them. "We're finally home," Jiao Shuo said. They were finally home. They had learned a lot along the way. Jiao Xie. Under Bai Ruyan's lead, the group flew into the city from the void. Below, the disciples and battle servants of the Bai Feng clan bowed respectfully. The creatures waiting in line also looked at them with respect. Stepping into the city, Xiaoqing's eyes glowed. The aura here was one with her. She seemed to have seen everything here before in the seal in her mind. It was here. She felt that her origin should be here. Her heart grew more and more nervous. The inside of the city was even larger. There were actually many large mountains inside. A few huge ancient buildings were built along the mountain, towering on the mountain. They were grand and magnificent, and their area was extremely large. At this moment, there was a bustling crowd in the city, making it seem very lively. Occasionally, there would be an extraordinary aura peeking out, as if they wanted to know who these people were, who could directly fly through the Bai Feng Divine Bird Clan. Many young experts from different clans have arrived. It's so lively. They're all waiting for the Beast Alliance meeting. Bai Kun was very happy. This was the second time she had seen so many people. The first time was during the Beast Alliance meeting. However, she was still too young at that time and couldn't even transform into human form. There are a lot of people. It's very lively. Ho Shuo was also very excited. The Bai Feng clan didn't have many disciples. Normally, there wouldn't be so many people in the clan. If there weren't any battle servants in the clan, there would be even fewer people. After a while, Ho Shuo brought everyone to a single mountaintop building. This mountaintop was filled with fog and energy fluctuations. There were even many spiritual herbs planted in the surroundings. Unfortunately, they weren't ripe yet. Both of you please rest here. If there's anything you need, just ask our servants to do it for you. Ho Shuo said to Qing Wan, Little Qing and Little Tiger. His attitude was very courteous. With his identity and status in the Bai Feng Divine Bird Clan, he was already very polite to Qing Wan, Little Qing, and Little Tiger. What about Little Qing? Little Tiger asked. He was worried about Du Xiaoqing. This is the outer city. We need to bring Little Blue back to the inner city. The inner city is the core of our clan. Only the descendants of our clan can enter. Not all of our descendants have the qualifications to enter. The patriarch and elders are still waiting for Little Blue. Please rest here. Little Blue is a descendant of our clan. She definitely won't be in danger. Bai Ruyan explained to Little Blue and Little Blue along the way. She knew that Little Tiger and Little Blue had a very good relationship. Don't worry, I'll be fine, Little Qing said. She felt that her origin was here. She wanted to find the answer. Afterward, Ho Shuo, Bai Ruyan, Bai Kun, and Ho Shuo left with Du Xiaoqing, leaving behind the battle servants. Little Qing will be fine, right? In the room, after Du Xiaofu set up the restriction, Yang Shuang asked. She was still worried about Du Xiaoqing. She should be fine. Du Xiaofu pondered. From the attitude of the Bai Feng Divine Bird Clan along the way, Little Qing shouldn't be in danger. He also hoped that Little Qing could find out her origin. The ancient city was vast and boundless. Du Xiaoqing followed Ho Shuo. Soon, they arrived in front of a huge mountain with rich fluctuations of heaven and earth energy. The huge mountain towered into the sky. It was so tall that it seemed to connect with the sky. There was a faint blazing aura pervading the air. This is the inner city. It's also the sacred mountain of the Bai Feng Divine Bird Clan. Only the descendants of the Bai Feng Divine Bird Clan can enter. Ho Shuo informed Du Xiaoqing. Du Xiaoqing looked up. Her heart trembled for no reason. Her blood was fluctuating in her body. The inner city was very strict. The entrance was guarded by the experts of the Bai Feng Divine Bird Clan. There were layers of restrictions. The inner city was located halfway up the towering mountain. Du Xiaoqing entered the inner city under the guidance of Ho Shuo and the others. The surroundings were vast. In the distance, there were continuous mountains. The surrounding light fluctuated. The clouds were faintly discernible. The flowing lights were overflowing. The clouds were rising. It was like a fairyland. Beep! In the inner city, there were Bai Fong divine birds that were only a few dozen feet tall or even smaller. They curiously sized up Du Xiaoqing. These were the young of the Bai Fong divine bird clan. They hadn't reached the stage where they could transform into humans, but their aura was already very fierce and powerful. Brother Ho Shura. Sister Ruyan. Some young men and women ran over. They were also curiously sizing up Du Xiaoqing. The inner city is very big. There are some secret places in it. You can visit them later. I'll take you to the main hall first. The patriarch and the elders are already waiting for you, Ho Shua said to Du Xiaoqing. Du Xiaoqing nodded. Everything had an innate familiarity. It was very warm and comfortable. In the spacious square, there was a majestic hall. When Du Xiaoqing arrived in front of the hall, she was surprised. At this moment, there were many figures standing in front of the hall. In front of her, there was a row of old men. The invisible aura distorted the void. In the front was a middle-aged man who looked like he was in his 40s. He was thin and had long red hair. He was wearing a long robe. He looked very elegant. However, the aura on his body was incomparably powerful. There was no reason for it. There was an imposing aura. Swoosh swoosh. With the arrival of Du Xiaoqing, these gazes immediately fell on Du Xiaoqing. Everyone was carefully sizing her up. There were fluctuations in their eyes. Du Xiaoqing was surprised. She could feel the aura on these old men. It was even more powerful than the grand elders of the Nong family. Some of them were not far from the Saint realm. The red-haired middle-aged man in front of her had an unfathomable aura. Greetings, patriarch. Greetings, elders. When they saw the group of people in front of them, Ho Shua, Bai Ruyan, and the other two saluted. They were very surprised. They did not expect the patriarch and the elders to personally wait in the square. Thank you for your hard work. The middle-aged man nodded at Ho Shua and Bai Ruyan. He then walked towards Du Xiaoqing. Patriarch. Du Xiaoqing said. This was the patriarch of the Bai Fong clan. The familiar aura seemed to be connected by blood. It was very intimate. Don't be afraid. This is a drop of our clan's blood. I need you to test it. It won't cause any harm. Relax. The middle-aged man said. His voice was very gentle. His eyes were filled with expectation and a little bit of nervousness. When his voice fell, a drop of blood appeared in his palm. Boom! When this drop of blood appeared, it was crystal clear. In the red and green light, it burst out a dazzling light. It was like a red and green sun in the sky. A vast and unparalleled pressure suddenly descended. The experts and elders of the Bai Fong divine bird clan trembled in front of such a drop of blood. This drop of blood was too powerful. It was filled with vast fluctuations that shook people's souls. Beep! In the inner city, there was a cry of a Bai Fong cub. The disciples of the Bai Fong clan who were not strong enough trembled and their bodies went soft. Chapter 2288. Ancestral Blood. Staring at that drop of blood, Xie Xiu and Bai Ruyan's expressions changed. This was a precious treasure of the clan. Not to mention them, even Qi Yan did not have the qualifications to obtain it. They had heard from their elders that there was only one drop of ancestral blood in the entire clan. And now, because of a descendant from the outside world, the clan actually took out the ancestral blood. How could Xie Xiu and Bai Ruyan not be shocked? When this drop of blood appeared, Du Xiaoqing's body trembled as if it had been struck by lightning. The blood in her body suddenly boiled, as if it was about to burn. Her eyes were green and red, resplendent and dazzling. The drop of blood in the middle-aged man's hand also seemed to be attracted by something at this moment. It began to erupt with dazzling green and red talisman patterns, like countless threads of energy. The energy fluctuations became more and more shocking, seeping out a kind of green dense fog. Boom! A terrifying pressure spread out from this drop of blood, accompanied by the dense fog. In the end, it shook the entire inner city, spreading throughout the entire Bai Fong divine bird clan. Qi La! In the next instant, this drop of blood seemed to come alive, turning into a dazzling stream of light. Like fire and lightning, it swept directly between Du Xiaoqing's brows, drilling into it and disappearing. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man and the few old men's expressions quietly became extremely serious, also carrying a kind of great anticipation. Their hands clenched into fists, as if they were waiting for something. Boom! When that drop of blood entered between Du Xiaoqing's brows, green and red blood light spread out from Du Xiaoqing's body. The light overflowed into the sky, covering her entire body at an extremely fast speed, as if a layer of green and red blood film was wrapping around her body, like a thick layer of liquid covering her body. In an instant, something seemed to have awakened in Du Xiaoqing's body. Dazzling red talisman patterns spread out, as if flames were jumping. Waves of terrifying green and red light immediately spread out from her body. An extremely shocking energy fluctuation, accompanied by an extremely shocking pressure, suddenly spread out from Du Xiaoqing's body, like a volcano erupting. What a strong pressure! Under such pressure, the elders and powerhouses of the Baifeng Divine Bird clan were shocked. Their bodies trembled violently, and their eyes lit up. Finally, the terrifying aura and pressure swept out from Du Xiaoqing's body like an erupting volcano, bringing with it a wave of energy that soared into the sky. Bang 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 bang. The energy vibrations seemed to cause the world to shake. Bright green and red talisman runes erupted, causing the entire Beast King mountain range to tremble. The earth quaked and the mountains shook, the sky changed color. Beep! At this very moment, a shrill, soul-piercing, deafening buzzing noise came from Du Xiaoqing's body. Amidst the bright, cyan-red runes and symbols, a Baifeng Divine Bird, which was thousands of feet long, flapped its wings and emerged. A terrifying pressure suddenly descended on this ancient world, shaking the entire Baifeng Divine Bird clan and sweeping across the entire Beast King mountain range. The Baifeng Divine Bird's shadow appeared in the sky, as if it had traversed time and space, descending from ancient times. Its terrifying aura was like that of a god, rushing into the endless sky above the void. Beep! Because of this aura, beams of light shot up into the heavens, raging flames, and cries could be heard throughout the Baifeng Divine Bird clan. The Baifeng Divine Birds revealed their true forms and prostrated themselves towards the huge Baifeng Divine Bird's shadow, worshipping it. On the square, many powerhouses couldn't help themselves. Their beast souls trembled, and their blood boiled. They all transformed into their true forms and prostrated themselves on the ground. Jiao Qi and Bai Ruyan were no exception. They couldn't resist the pressure, which came from the deepest part of their bloodline and beast souls. It's fused, it's fused. God bless our Baifeng clan. Only a few old men and the middle-aged man were still standing, trembling. Some of the old men's faces were already covered in tears, and their old faces couldn't stop trembling. The Beast King mountain range trembled, and a vast, blazing aura and pressure descended. Those who didn't have enough cultivation went limp and fell from the sky. Some powerhouses of the Beast clan stepped into the void and looked ahead. The vast aura was coming from there. It's coming from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan. It's causing the world to tremble. Something big must have happened, an old man said, his eyes trembling. With such a commotion, could it be that someone in the Baifeng Divine Bird clan has broken through to the Saint Realm? A young monster king stepped into the void, his eyes deep in thought. In the Baifeng Divine Bird clan's mountain, Du Xiaofu looked in the direction of the vast aura. He could feel the terrifying pressure of that energy the most. It was too terrifying. The energy fluctuation came from the inner city. Du Xiaofu's expression changed. Du Xiaoqing had just entered the inner city not long ago. Immediately, his consciousness swept out and spied. The vast energy pressure was too great. It was as if an ancient Baifeng Divine Bird had traveled through time and space. Even Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit was affected. Oh no! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu withdrew his consciousness. He felt an obscure, powerful aura. It was above the Saint Realm. He didn't know if it had discovered him. Rumble! The inner city trembled. The bodies of the Baifeng Divine Birds were everywhere, and their eyes were trembling. Under such pressure, their blood boiled, and the depths of their beast souls couldn't help but tremble. In the square, Du Xiaoqing's eyes were closed. Her body was wrapped in the bright energy of the mysterious runes, and she seemed to have fainted. "You're finally back. I didn't expect to see you again in my lifetime." A voice came from above the void. A hazy figure descended beside Du Shaoqing. Walala! The huge shadow of the Baifeng divine bird slowly disappeared, and the light dissipated. However, Du Xiaoqing's body was covered with a layer of green and red blood film. It was filled with mysterious runes, like a blood cocoon. The ancient aura fluctuated. It didn't feel hot, but it made people's beast souls burn and wither. She needs some time to integrate with the ancestral blood. The hazy figure was wrapped in green and red light. The surrounding void was also distorted. Then he left with Du Shaoqing and disappeared. The pressure in the surroundings slowly dissipated. The figures in the square gradually recovered. Their faces were filled with absolute shock. It took a long time for them to recover. The old man trembled, and his eyes were filled with joy. He seemed to be very excited. Bai Rian, Bai Jiao, Bai Kun, and Bai Shuo stood up. Their eyes were dull, and they didn't know what had happened. What happened? On the mountaintop, Ouyang Shuang asked Du Xiaofu. The commotion just now had startled everyone, including them. "I don't know. It came from the inner city." Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows slightly. That aura was too vast. He hoped that nothing had happened to little Qing. Then, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. From the attitude of the Baifeng divine bird clan and what they saw, Du Xiaoqing was undoubtedly a pure-blooded descendant of the Baifeng divine bird clan. She shouldn't be in any danger. Little Qing looked at the city in front of her. There were lively sounds coming from time to time. She said, "It seems to be very lively down there. Let's go down and take a look." Du Xiaofu's eyes moved, and then he smiled. He had just discovered a powerful and obscure aura. He didn't know if it was a saint of the Baifeng divine bird clan. He wanted to go down and take a look to avoid being found. Then, Du Xiaofu took the little tiger, Ouyang Shuang, and the others down the mountain. The battle servants had no choice but to follow. The place where they stayed was also some distance away from the outer city. They had to pass through dozens of mountains. In the mountain stream, spiritual birds were flying, auspicious beasts were spreading their wings, and spiritual herbs were suffused with multicolored light. There were spiritual herbs everywhere. Rare and precious towering trees spread out like giant umbrellas, covering the sky and the sun. On the cliffs, there were spiritual vines bearing fruit, as well as exotic flowers and herbs. The multicolored light was unceasing. "This is a treasure land." Du Xiaofu sighed. He didn't know when his stone city would be comparable to this place. This is only the outer city. The good things are all in the inner city. There are precious herbs there. It is said that there are also some sacred herbs. There are ancient formations set up, and the energy of heaven and earth is even more astonishing. It is twice the result with half the effort for cultivation. The middle-aged battle servant said. After eating the barbecued meat and seeing the strength of the little tiger and the others, he was very polite to Du Xiaofu and the others. "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly lit up. There were actually sacred herbs. If there was a chance, he must go to the inner city. It would be even better if he could eat some sacred herbs. Then, Du Xiaofu said to the middle-aged battle servant, "Brother, can you introduce me to the Baifeng divine bird clan?" He hoped to know more about the Baifeng divine bird clan. Little Yu is really celebrating today, so please comfort him with flowers. Continue writing. Chapter 2289. Translator. H2H2 Mr. The middle-aged battle servant hesitated for a moment before telling him about the Baifeng divine bird clan. There weren't many descendants of the Baifeng divine bird clan, and they didn't even have as many battle servants. Du Xiaofu did not find this strange. The more powerful the bloodline of a race, the fewer descendants they would have. This was like an invisible suppression of the heavenly Tao. The heavens were fair. The Baifeng divine bird clan's bloodline was very strong. Among the top 10 experts of the younger generation in the Beast Alliance, the Baifeng divine bird clan occupied 2 spots. Moreover, one of them was ranked first and the other was ranked fourth. It was enough to show their bloodline and foundation. However, Du Xiaofu learned from the middle-aged servant that there were many experts in the Bai Fang Divine Bird Clan. Every Beast Alliance meeting was hosted by the Bai Fang Divine Bird Clan. In the Beast Alliance conference, the younger generation of the Beast Alliance would compete against each other. Finally, the Supreme Sky Prides would fight for the position of commander and become the Lord of all beasts, the supreme ruler of the Beast Clan. The middle-aged battle servant said. He had been with the Bai Fang Divine Bird Clan for a long time and knew many things. He was proud of being a member of the Bai Fang Divine Bird Clan. Du Xiaofu guessed that this ancient, desolate, ominous ground was not peaceful, and there were many fights. Du Xiaofu also found out that in the Beast Alliance, the Dark Heavenly Tiger, 8 Desolation Demon Dragon, and other large clans had ruled the Beast Alliance a long time ago. The Bai Fang Divine Bird Clan was not the only clan that ruled the Beast Alliance. There are no pure-blooded dragons or phoenixes. However, there are many branches. For example, the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon has the bloodline of dragons. However, they are not pure-blooded dragons. When Du Xiaofu was trying to sniff if there were any dragons or phoenixes, the middle-aged battle servant said. He subconsciously looked at Qing Wan Shaoqing beside him. That was a Qing Wan, a legendary existence in this place. As they spoke, they had already arrived at the city. It was huge and majestic, ancient and bustling with people. What a huge city! Ouyang Shuang sighed. The city here was much bigger than the human city. A person standing at the corner of the wall was extremely small. A door was probably taller than a mountain. This was the territory of the Bai Fang Divine Bird Clan. The energy of heaven and earth was very dense, and it emitted a mist. Clouds and mist were faintly discernible and multicolored light shone. There was also a faint blazing aura in the air. Everything was like a paradise. On the street, Qing Wan Shaoqing, Dai Xingyu, and the little tiger seemed to be very curious about everything. They were running around in excitement. Du Xiaofu and Ouyang Shuang slowly walked on the wide street and curiously sized up the place. This is my first time walking with you like this. Ouyang Shuang approached Du Xiaofu. At this moment, they were in the ancient, desolate, ominous ground. It was a rare opportunity for the two of them to walk together. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything. He gently grasped the slender hand beside him and slightly squeezed it. These years, he had been focused on cultivation and neglected too many women in front of him. He felt apologetic in his heart. If there was a day when he could, he also hoped that he could hold her hand and walk through the beautiful scenery of this world. He wanted to watch the sunset and the rosy clouds fill the sky. When I become the ruler of this world, I will allow you to call this place your home. Du Xiaofu smiled and said to Ouyang Shuang, when you become the ruler of this world, I only want you by my side. Ouyang Shuang smiled faintly. Her smile could topple cities and was unparalleled. She held his thick arm and leaned on it gently. At this moment, there was only satisfaction in her heart. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's heart was also very calm. However, he couldn't help but think of Su Muxin, Dongli Qingqing, Sima Muhan, and Zixian. If he could really reach that day, he couldn't just bring one of them. It would be great if he could bring all of them. There was also his mother, sister, and alcoholic father. Du Xiaofu thought so. The middle-aged battle servant and the others followed behind. Originally, they didn't think much of it when they saw Du Xiaofu and Ouyang Shuang holding hands. In the Beast Alliance, there were many male and female battle servants who got together. Some were even designated by their masters. However, when they heard Du Xiaofu's domineering words, the middle-aged battle servant and the others secretly gasped. This tone was too arrogant. The streets were bustling with noise and excitement. There were even shops. Du Xiaofu was very curious. He pulled Ouyang Shuang and strolled around. To their surprise, they discovered many rare treasured herbs and refining materials in the outside world. These were treasured herbs and refining materials in these shops. If they needed to be exchanged, they could exchange any cultivation resources. Du Xiaofu exchanged for a lot of rare treasured medicines, spirit medicines, and refining materials. Once brought out, they would be priceless. Subsequently, Du Xiaofu also discovered many martial skills and cultivation techniques. These martial skills and cultivation techniques were very cheap in the territory of the Beast Alliance. Compared to the outside world, their value couldn't be any lower. The Beast Alliance was dominated by the beast race. Humans were just battle servants. These martial skills and cultivation techniques were for the battle servants to cultivate. Naturally, they were very cheap. Even those top-notch cultivation techniques and martial skills couldn't be any lower compared to the outside world. In fact, many of the cultivation techniques and martial skills could even be considered as treasures in the outside world. Du Xiaofu naturally wouldn't let go of such a bargain. These martial skills and cultivation techniques were all from before the Dragon Phoenix tribulation. Therefore, Du Xiaofu exchanged a lot. He bought almost everything that caught his eye. In any case, the Desolate Country, Tianwu Academy, and the Seven-Star Hall could all use them. The middle-aged battle servant and the others secretly gasped. This fellow had too many treasures on him. It was as though he couldn't squander them all. They didn't know why he bought so many martial skills and cultivation techniques. It was as though he was going to buy all the martial skills and cultivation techniques on a few streets. Which clan do these two battle servants belong to? Not bad. A loud voice suddenly sounded. It sounded like a roar and attracted the attention of many people. The voice came from the side. Du Xiaofu turned his head and raised his eyebrows slightly. He saw a strange scene. A group of people were clustered around a feminine young man from the beast race. He was extremely tall, probably 10 feet tall. There were also many battle servants behind him. This feminine young man from the beast race had a dirty look in his eyes, but he was exuding a baleful aura. The most eye-catching thing was the 4 beautiful women beside him. However, they were all humans. They had good looks and seductive eyes. Not bad at all. I didn't expect to meet such trash. This trip wasn't in vain. The feminine young man's eyes lit up as he stared at Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu. The 4 seductive women beside him couldn't compare at all. They were worlds apart. Hearing the feminine young man's words, the 4 seductive women looked at Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu. Their expressions immediately turned gloomy and deep jealousy gushed out. This is from the 4-winged demonic snake race. The 4-winged demonic snake race is also a large race. They aren't much weaker than the roe owl race. The men of the 4-winged demonic snake race like to copulate with human women. They enjoy it very much. The middle-aged battle servant transmitted his voice to Du Xiaofu and the others. Although they were from the Bai Fang divine bird race, as a battle servant, he wasn't qualified to face the 4-winged demonic snake race directly. Scram! Ouyang Shuang scolded coldly. She didn't like the gaze of the 4-winged demonic snake race man. She hated it. If it weren't for the fact that they were in the Bai Fang divine bird race, Ouyang Shuang would have already attacked. This battle servant seems to have some temper. I like hot ones. The feminine young man looked at Ouyang Shuang when he heard that. He didn't use any sacred weapon. Instead, he laughed. You're courting death. Little Tiger made his move. His roar caused piercing pain in the eardrums of the surrounding creatures. His figure swept across the sky like a ferocious tiger pouncing on its prey. While he was in midair, a wave of pitch-black talisman runes gushed out from his palm. A claw mark distorted the void, bringing about a tearing phenomenon as it directly grabbed at the feminine youth. With lightning speed, the little tiger attacked violently. Although they were in the Bai Fang divine bird race, no one was allowed to humiliate the female master. Rip! Everything happened too quickly. The claw mark directly detained the head of the feminine young man. At this moment, the feminine young man's eyes were filled with incomparable fear for some reason. His pupils dilated. Then, starting from his head, he was torn apart by the claw mark, turning into a pool of blood. Drip, drip, the little tiger flicked its sleeves, and a bloody mist poured onto the ground. A supreme aura of a beast filled the air. Its posture was tall and straight, and it was extremely shocking. However, at this moment, the little tiger was secretly shocked. This feminine young man from the 4-winged demonic snake race didn't seem weak, but it killed him too easily just now. It didn't take any effort at all. The only explanation was that the little tiger knew that this was done secretly by the third young master. Indeed, this was done secretly by Du Xiaofu. The four-winged demonic snake race man actually had his eyes on Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu. This was Du Xiaofu's reverse scale. When the little tiger attacked, it had already secretly imprisoned the beast soul with its primordial spirit. Unfortunately, the feminine young man from the four-winged demonic snake race didn't even know what was going on until he died. The middle-aged battle servant and the others were also stunned. They didn't think that such an unforeseen event would happen in an instant. They wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Then they could only bitterly smile. They knew the temper and savagery of the little tiger and the others, so this wasn't strange. This sudden scene also caused the surroundings to immediately become silent. The people accompanying the feminine young man were even more dumbstruck. They couldn't help but tremble uneasily. However, there were also immediately experts from the divine bird race of the Baifeng divine bird race who appeared with quite a few powerful battle servants. Other than certain areas in the city, all disputes were prohibited. No one was an exception. The middle-aged battle servant and the others immediately went up and said something to the divine bird race of the Baifeng divine bird race in a low voice. When the divine bird race of the Baifeng divine bird race expert heard this, he looked at the little tiger and the Qingluan. His expression fluctuated. Then, he actually nodded towards the little tiger. He didn't say anything at all, and after letting the battle servant clean up the bloodstains, he hurriedly left. He must have a great origin. I wonder which race he is from. The surrounding demonic beasts whispered secretly. The divine bird race of the Baifeng divine bird race actually didn't say anything after killing a disciple of the four-winged demonic snake race in the city. They were even polite. This kind of status was extraordinary. What's going on? Du Xiaofu also felt strange and asked the middle-aged battle servant. In order to avoid exposing himself, he didn't use his primordial spirit to investigate just now. The dark sky tiger race has always been a close friend of the divine bird race of the Baifeng divine bird race. I told them the identity of the little tiger, so the race won't pursue anything. However, I'm worried that the four-winged demonic snake race won't let it go. At that time, there will be some trouble. The middle-aged battle servant smiled bitterly. They were the ones who brought these people out. If there was trouble at that time, they would also be punished. Is that so? Du Xiaofu said softly and didn't care. Let's go. Du Xiaofu still planned to stroll around and see if there were any other gains. The battle servant duel area is just ahead. My lords, you should go back first. The middle-aged battle servant had a long face. He was afraid that these fellows would cause trouble again. At that time, he would be in great trouble. A battle between battle servants? Du Xiaofu asked casually. Every time before the Beast Alliance General Meeting, before the competition between the younger generation Supreme Sky Prides of the Beast Alliance, those Supreme Sky Prides would arrange for their battle servants to fight each other. There would be some wagers, such as martial techniques, cultivation techniques, and elixirs. The wagers wouldn't be too high and a powerful battle servant would be able to add to the glory of those Supreme Sky Prides. The middle-aged battle servant said. The stakes of the battle servant showdown weren't high, and these fellows probably wouldn't care about it. There's a bet. Du Xiaofu's eyes lit up. The stakes were not high, but the martial skills and cultivation methods were very attractive. Looking around, Du Xiaofu said to the little tiger, "Let's go take a look." Okay. Little tiger understood Du Xiaofu's gaze too well and immediately understood. De Zhang begging for flowers. Chapter 2290. The middle-aged battle servant was about to cry. These guys really knew how to cause trouble. Not long after, Du Xiaofu arrived at a huge plaza surrounded by huge mountains. The plaza was also protected by a seal, making it difficult to shake or destroy. Bang bang bang. There were many battle servants fighting fiercely. Muffled sounds of energy rang out continuously, and there were shouts coming from all around. Densely packed figures surrounded the plaza. Du Xiaofu looked around. Just as the middle-aged battle servant had said, the battles were all between battle servants, and the stakes were martial arts techniques, spirit herbs, treasured medicines, cultivation techniques, and so on. However, some of the bets were bigger, and there were beast kings who had bet precious treasures. The arrival of Du Xiaofu, the little tiger, and the others did not attract any special attention. Everyone's eyes were focused on the plaza. Are there any interested parties? As long as you can defeat my battle servant, you can get a half-step Saint Herb. The little tiger said loudly. He took out a treasured medicine from his heaven-earth bag that was suffused with multicolored light and illuminated the entire plaza. Calling it a half-step Saint Herb might not be enough. However, what the little tiger took out was definitely the top of the treasured medicine level. It was a 9-turn Spirit Emperor herb, and it was priceless. 9-turn Spirit Emperor herb. Suddenly, numerous gazes were attracted to the little tiger, and all of them revealed heated expressions. This was definitely a big bet. How about an 8 stars Emperor fruit for your 9-turn Spirit Emperor herb? A young beast king walked out and took out a spirit fruit with a strong medicinal fragrance. It was the size of a fist, and there seemed to be a kind of natural talisman engraved on its surface. It shone brightly like a small star. The 8 stars Emperor fruit was definitely an excellent treasure among treasured medicines, but compared to the 9-turn Spirit Emperor herb, most people would probably still choose the 9-turn Spirit Emperor herb. Therefore, the young beast king looked at the little tiger, afraid that the little tiger would not agree. Okay, deal. However, the little tiger nodded, a smile in his eyes. The young beast race monarch smiled and waved his hand. A battle servant around 50 years old walked out from behind him. This fellow is so sinister. That battle servant is an expert from his clan and has already won several rounds. Someone spoke in a low voice. That young demonic beast king was too sinister. Who's coming up? The battle servant who looked to be in his 50s walked onto the plaza. His gaze was arrogant and his aura was vigorous. Du Xiaofu smiled and walked onto the stage. Looks like he's going to lose. He's so young, so I don't think he's that strong. Seeing Du Xiaofu's young appearance, the surrounding people didn't think he would win. However, little tiger seemed very relaxed and didn't care at all. On the other hand, Ouyang Shuang, Dai Xingyu, Qing Wan, and little Qing were very helpless. They couldn't help but secretly roll their eyes at Du Xiaofu. This guy really had too much free time. Bang! In an instant, the two of them began to fight. The stakes of the 9 Revolutions Spirit Emperor grass and the 8 stars Emperor fruit were extremely high and attracted a lot of attention. Many people were staring at them curiously. The battle was difficult to determine. In the end, the battle servant no longer held back his strength at the peak of the realm. He activated his martial veins, but he still couldn't completely defeat Du Xiaofu. Boom! The more they fought, the more shocked he became. The battle servant took out a battle halberd, causing the void to tremble and light to overflow. This was a half-step saint-level treasure. This battle halberd was a half-step saint weapon. Lose! The 5 battle servants shouted loudly. The battle halberd light overflowed into the sky, and their aura collapsed and suppressed the void. Du Xiaofu's feet surged with light, and he directly fled. He miraculously dodged in the incomparably dangerous situation. The 5 battle servants' expressions changed, and their auras soared as they attacked one after another. However, Du Xiaofu continued to flee as if he no longer had the strength to fight back. He was already on the verge of collapse and would be defeated at any time. The young demonic beast king had a smile on his face. Victory was already in his hands. A 9 Revolutions Spirit Emperor grass was a huge gain. But then, the young demonic beast king's smile froze on his face. There was a sudden change in the field. For some reason, the 5 battle servants made a mistake and their attacks paused for a moment. Bang! At this moment, Du Xiaofu counterattacked and punched his chest fiercely. At the same time, his left hand clenched into a claw, and light surged. He actually directly snatched the half-step saint weapon from the battle servant's hand. The 5 battle servants vomited blood and were sent flying. They directly lost consciousness, and the battle halberd also fell into Du Xiaofu's hands. This is too unexpected. He actually won. Everyone was surprised and very emotional. Just now, the 5 battle servants seemed to have encountered a small accident. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't have been defeated. The young demonic beast king's face turned pale. He had lost an 8 stars emperor fruit, which was not low. Du Xiaofu's face was pale, and he was panting. His hair was messy, and he handed the battle halberd in his hand to the little tiger. The 8 stars emperor fruit is yours. Return the battle halberd to me, the young demonic beast king said to the little tiger. This battle halberd was taken from the field. It can be considered a spoil of war. If you want it, then bet again. If you win, it's yours, the little tiger said. You, the young demonic beast king's face darkened. A half-step saint weapon was definitely not cheap. But if he bet again, his strongest battle servant would be defeated, and no one would be able to enter the field. A half-saint artifact, 8 stars sky emperor fruit, and 9 revolutions spiritual emperor grass. Is there anyone else who wants to bet? Martial techniques, cultivation techniques, spiritual herbs, treasured herbs, mystic bones, anything will do. As long as he can defeat my battle servant, the half-saint artifact, 8 stars sky emperor fruit, and 9 revolutions spiritual emperor grass will all belong to him. The little tiger ignored the young demonic beast king. He threw the 8 stars emperor fruit, half-step saint weapon, and 9 turns spiritual emperor grass in front of him and shouted loudly. The precious herbs in front of him were filled with multicolored light and energy fluctuations. They were incomparably tempting, stimulating the hearts of many people. You're not changing your battle servant? The young demonic beast king asked as he stared at the little tiger. No, my battle servant is invincible. Naturally, I won't change. The little tiger said solemnly. What a big tone. He's clearly an arrow at the end of its flight, but he's still invincible. Hearing this, someone whispered. Looking at the battle servant gasping for breath, his face was pale, and his aura was weak. He was already an arrow at the end of its flight. How could he be invincible? I'll bet with you. Come, I'll bet with you too. Instantly, several beast kings were interested in the fight. The other party refused to change his battle servant. This was clearly a great advantage. How could they not bet? I still want to bet. I want to bet on the things in this cosmos sack. Do you dare? The young demonic beast king who had just lost looked at the little tiger and took out a cosmos sack. Let's bet. Throw the cosmos sack on the square. No matter what it is, as long as you can take it out, I'll bet with you. The little tiger said calmly, not taking it seriously at all. But the young demonic beast king smiled again. He threw the cosmos sack beside the 8 stars emperor fruit and 9 turns spiritual emperor grass. He signaled with his eyes, and a long-haired middle-aged battle servant walked out from behind him. The long-haired middle-aged battle servant stomped his feet on the ground and flew into the arena. His figure was elegant and unrestrained. A powerful aura suddenly swept out. It was definitely not much weaker than the previous 5 battle servants. Begin. The long-haired middle-aged battle servant was in midair. He had already shouted and attacked directly. He raised the extraordinary long spear in his hand. The spear light was like a dragon, and his aura was sharp and surging. He wanted to take the opportunity to crush Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu was repeatedly defeated. He did not dare to fight head-on. He staggered back in a sorry state and was in danger several times. Ha! I have a lot of precious herbs in my cosmos sack. A true half-saint herb, 3 saint artifacts, and a lot of martial techniques and cultivation methods. Boy, I hope you can pay for it. Ha! The young demonic beast king laughed. He was in a good mood. His opponent's battle servant was already struggling on the verge of death. He had deliberately put a lot of precious treasures in his cosmos sack. He had made a killing this time. Even if his opponent paid for the 9 turns spiritual emperor grass, it would still be far from enough. He would definitely make the former go bankrupt. What's going on? However, before the young monster beast king could finish laughing, a smile appeared on his face once again. Bang, bang, bang. A deep sonic boom rang out again. The demonic beast king's battle servant swooped down and stabbed with his spear. For some reason, the spear pierced into the ground. The ground of the square that was strengthened by the seal also cracked. At this moment, under the gazes of the crowd, The battle servant that was struggling on the brink of death found an opportunity. In an instant, he exploded, and numerous fist imprints landed on his chest at close range. Pucci, the long-haired middle-aged man's body was sent flying. He spurted out blood and fell 100 zhang away in a parabola. He seemed to have fainted. His spear was left in the square. He was defeated again. Puff! The smile on the young demonic beast king's face instantly turned pale. He did not know why, but he spurted out a mouthful of blood. Inside his Qinquan bag was his entire fortune. Just like that, Bei lost it for no reason. Is there anyone else who wants to bet? I still won't exchange my battle servant. Take out all your Cosmos sacks. If I win, I'll take all of them. It's okay if it's not enough. If you have more, I'll compensate you. After all, my battle servant is invincible. The little tiger shouted. I'll do it. I'll do it. Let's fight. Hearing the little tiger's words, the crowd became more and more lively. Many demonic beast kings were interested in the bet. It was obvious that the battle servant was lucky twice and barely won. Moreover, the battle servant had fought 2 battles in a row and was exhausted. Just now, everyone heard clearly that the Cosmos sack contained 3 saint tools and a true half-saint medicine. These were precious treasures. One at a time. Xiaohu said loudly with a smile on his face, remember to take out all of your Qinquan pouches, or else I won't bet. I'll do it. There was a human figure, but his hands and feet were strangely large. His entire body was furry, like an ape, but also like a bear. He took out 3 Qinquan pouches and threw them out, saying, the treasures I have on me add up to 3 saint tools and several stalks of peak-level precious medicines. I won't lose to your pile, so I won't take advantage of you. Let's begin. Chapter 2291. The Beast King's voice was like thunder. As his voice fell, a giant-like battle servant behind him walked into the arena with an astonishing aura. Kid, you're going to lose for sure. The giant-like battle servant directly attacked. With a punch, even the void was distorted. Crackling sounds could be heard in the air. Du Xiaofu once again stumbled and fled in a sorry state. His aura weakened continuously. More and more people gathered around to watch. It was so crowded that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The stakes here were too big, to the point of losing everything. It was too attractive. The battles of the other battle servants seemed very pale and did not have any attraction. In the end, only the battle between Du Xiaofu and the giant-like battle servant was left in the entire arena. And in the end, Du Xiaofu won again despite being injured. Just like that, under the instigation of the little tiger, another beast king came up to bet with everything they had. Du Xiaofu's face was deathly pale, and there were even traces of blood on his body. It was as if he was truly an arrow at the end of its flight. This caused many people to feel a great sense of hope. The pile of treasures was growing larger and larger. And so, the battles continued. Du Xiaofu was in a sorry state. He wandered around the arena, not daring to fight head-on. But in the end, Du Xiaofu could find his opponent's mistakes every time. Just like that, he won 18 rounds in a row miraculously. Everyone was stunned and secretly gasped. 18 rounds. There were already a bunch of Qinquan bags in front of the little tiger. There were probably close to 100 saint weapons, several half-saint medicines, precious medicines, spirit medicines, magic weapons, cultivation methods, martial skills, and so on. There were already too many to count. If all these treasures were poured out of the Qinquan bags, it would probably be enough to pile up into a small mountain. This is going to be interesting. There's a battle servant who is very extraordinary. He won many rounds in a row and won close to 100 saint weapons. That battle servant is very special. He won more than 10 rounds in a row and always won in the end. In the entire city, this news had quietly spread and attracted many people. Many people were rushing over, all wanting to see the battle servant who won more than 10 rounds in a row. Is there anyone else who wants to continue? As long as you can win, everything is yours. The little tiger shouted loudly. The multicolored light in front of it fluctuated, and the Qinquan pouches piled up. Is that battle servant faking it? Some demonic beast experts secretly turned their gazes, wondering if the battle servant had intentionally concealed his strength to trick them. It doesn't seem like it. I've already probed it. That battle servant is at the domain realm. A demonic beast expert solemnly swore that he had the means to spy on everything. That battle servant's aura couldn't escape his detection. I don't believe it. Some of the demonic beast kings could no longer hold themselves back. The pile of treasures before them was a huge temptation to everyone present. But in the end, the battle servant of the demonic beast king continued to be defeated. Bang, bang, bang. After that, more demonic beast kings continued to place their bets. They wanted to use a small bet to win a big one. The other party was continuously draining their energy, and their chances of winning were too high. However, after another 20 matches, the number of Qianquan pouches in front of the little tiger increased, and the number of treasures increased as well. However, there was still no battle servant who could win. 38 consecutive victories. What the hell is going on? The place was now filled with a sea of people. All the living beings in the city had been attracted to this place. Originally, such a bet wouldn't have attracted the attention of the entire city. However, with 38 consecutive matches added together, the pile of Qianquan pouches was enough to tempt even a Saint Beast expert. A battle servant who had won 38 consecutive matches was unrivaled. This was enough to shock the entire city. You're faking it well. Indeed, I have to say that even I almost believed you. Suddenly, such a voice was heard. It wasn't loud, but it reverberated in all directions. It had imperceptibly covered all the other noises in the place, and it clearly fell into everyone's ears. Numerous gazes immediately turned towards the source of the voice. Many figures walked out from there, and the crowd automatically parted to let them pass. The person in the lead was a handsome young man with a nose like an eagle's hook. His facial features were distinct, and he wore a tight-fitting long robe with a bronze cloak draped over his shoulders. He appeared tall and slender. Many monster kings followed behind the young man, and there were also piles of battle servants. An invisible wave of aura permeated the air, causing the atmosphere in the entire square to suddenly become oppressive. It was as if a huge rock had suddenly pressed down on one's chest. It's Lord Zhanlan. When everyone saw the cloaked young man, their expressions immediately changed. Some monster kings lowered their heads and saluted. Zhanlan. In the square, Du Xiaofu's gaze moved without leaving a trace. From the information he had gathered along the way, Zhanlan was from the Gulan Heavenly Condor clan. He was ranked 9th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Is Lord Zhanlan going to let his battle servant take action? It seems that the mysterious battle servant in the square is strange. Lord Zhanlan saw through it. Everyone was secretly discussing. At this time, Lord Zhanlan's arrival undoubtedly caused the crowd to be even more excited and expectant. Little Tiger looked at Zhanlan, but there wasn't much change in his expression. He raised his eyebrows and looked straight at Zhanlan. You want to bet too? You're quite brave. Zhanlan looked at Little Tiger and smiled faintly. At the same time, he looked at Qing Wan, Xiao Qing, Dai Xingyu and Ouyang Shuang. On the other hand, the middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan turned pale when he saw Zhanlan. They didn't know how to end the day. These lords were too good at causing trouble. If they knew this would happen, they wouldn't have brought them down the mountain. Don't talk about whether it's useful or not. If you want to bet, then place your bet. If you can't, then leave. Xiaohu shot a glance at Zhanlan. His deep, dark eyes did not seem to mind at all. Tian Tian, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Mo Tianxiao and Dugufenshin were all together. Even if Zhanlan's aura was above his, he couldn't pressure Little Tiger at all. Presumptuous. Behind Zhanlan, a few battle servants shouted and their auras surged out. It's not your turn to be arrogant. If you have the ability, then go up and fight with my battle servant. Little Tiger also shouted. The sound waves rolled up the space. It was as if a tiger's roar was deafening. The sound waves swept over and made people's eardrums hurt. Do you know who I am? Hearing Little Tiger's words, it was the first time someone looked down on him. Jean Lan's face gradually darkened. I'm not interested. If your battle servant can defeat my battle servant, then I might be interested to know who you are. If you don't dare, then don't block others. Little Tiger said. That's right. If you have the ability, then bet. Otherwise, don't block others. The laughter was long and drawn out. Another person came forward with great momentum. The crowd was in an uproar and the onlookers automatically made way. The crowd looked and saw another young man walk out from the crowd. This young man wasn't tall. He was slightly fat and had a slightly hunched back. However, his eyes were vast and deep like black holes. The young man's body exuded a faint icy aura. With his arrival, the temperature of the entire field seemed to have dropped a lot. Behind this young man were the monster kings and battle servants. They wouldn't be any weaker than Jean Lan. Xian Tu, what's the meaning of this? When Jean Lan saw this hunchbacked young man, his expression didn't look too good. He already said that if you don't dare or can't afford to bet, then make way. Other people don't have the obligation to know who you are. Don't think that the entire Beast Alliance must know who you are. If you have the ability to take the position of commander, then the entire Beast Alliance will know who you, Jean Lan, are. Unfortunately, the hunchbacked young man looked at Jean Lan with a half-smile. There was no fear in his eyes. He paused for a moment and then said faintly, "You, Jean Lan, don't seem to have the ability to fight for the position of commander. Xian Tu, you want to fight ahead of time?" Jean Lan's expression darkened completely. His eyes glowed brightly and his aura surged. "Jean Lan, I think Xian Tu is right this time. If you want to bet, then do it. If you don't dare, then make way. Don't take up the space." A rugged young man swept down from the crowd and landed on the ground. His aura was like that of a lion. He glanced around and the corners of his mouth curled into a tyrannical smirk. In the crowd, many figures flew over and landed beside the boorish young man. Their auras were vast and powerful. Lord Xiaogu, Lord Xian Tu. Heavens, I didn't expect Xian Tu and Xiaogu to come. The entire square was in an uproar. Many people trembled inwardly. Xian Tu, Xiaogu. Du Xiaofu stood on the square and looked indifferently at Xian Tu and Xiaogu. Xian Tu was the leader of the Black Ice Tortoise race and ranked 8th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Xiaogu was the leader of the Howling Lion race and ranked 7th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Du Xiaofu took another look at Xiaogu. It was said that during this period of time, Xiaogu had been asking around about him, wanting to subdue him as a battle servant. How lively! As more people came, the crowd automatically parted to make a path for them. A group of people walked over unhurriedly. This time, Du Xiaofu, Ouyang Shuang, Little Tiger and the others were very familiar with them. They raised their brows inwardly. At the front was a slender, handsome young man with a pair of dark brown eyes that shone with a charming luster. Who else could it be but Qing Long of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon race? Behind Qing Long were several young men and women with extraordinary auras, as well as no less than 30 battle servants. They all had extraordinary auras. The arrival of Qing Long and the others surprised Xiaogu, Xian Tu and Jean Lan. But Qing Long's gaze fell on Du Xiaofu. His eyes were a little complicated, but he didn't say anything. Du Xiaofu also glanced at Qing Long. He had seen Qing Long in front of the ancient ruins. He had also come to the Baifeng divine bird race. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's gaze looked behind the crowd. In the distance, on top of a towering ancient pavilion, several figures quietly appeared. The beautiful figure in the lead had a graceful figure with a head full of fiery red hair that cascaded down her shoulders to her slender waist. She was dressed in tight clothes and her lower body was curvy. Her eyes were pitch black and lively. It was Xiao Yao. Chapter 2292. Qing Long, Xiaogu, Xian Tu, Jean Lan, these supremes are all here. Oh my God, this is going to be interesting. Are they going to let their battle servants fight? When these supreme martial artists, who were famous in the entire Beast Alliance, appeared, the entire square was in an uproar. These supreme prodigies would only appear during the Beast Alliance conference. But they actually appeared here today. How could they not be shocked and excited? Everyone present knew very well that the battle servants before every Beast Alliance meeting were actually the battle servants of these supreme prodigies. Especially on the day before the Beast Alliance meeting, the Supreme's battle servants would appear. There would be intense battles, and the stakes would be high. To a certain extent, this was a secret confrontation between these supreme geniuses. Whichever battle servant emerged victorious in the end would be able to make a name for himself. But now, these Supremes had appeared for this mysterious battle servant before the Beast Alliance meeting. How could they not be shocked and excited? Xian Tu and Xiaogu also secretly looked at Qing Long. They didn't expect this guy to come too. Who else wants to bet? It's going to be night soon. There's no time. Little Tiger's gaze swept across the supreme being geniuses one after another. He was still fearless as he shouted loudly. The sunset glow covered the sky. The sun was about to set. After these dozens of battles, the sky was about to turn dark. You're purposely hiding your strength. Then I'll fulfill your wish. A stalk of sacred medicine and everything in front of you. Zhanlan said. Xiaogu, Xian Tu, and Qing Long were all here. He couldn't back down. Besides, Zhanlan had come here intentionally. It was said that there were more than 100 saint weapons in this Jiankuan bag, many half-step sacred medicines, and countless other treasures. Even a Saint Beast Realm expert couldn't resist such temptation. Naturally, he was very interested. But Zhanlan didn't expect Qing Long, Xian Tu, and Xiaogu to come. Obviously, Xiaogu, Xian Tu, and the others also came with this idea. He couldn't let them take advantage of him. You want to bet all the treasures in front of me with a stalk of sacred medicine? At least 2 stalks of sacred medicine. If not, go home and take them. Little Tiger didn't hold back. You, Zhanlan gritted his teeth. If this pile of treasures was really as rumored, then there were several half-saint medicines, over 100 saint tools, and many other treasures. 1 saint medicine was indeed a little less, but it was only a little less. If it was a saint medicine of a higher grade, it would definitely be enough. Even if it was just an ordinary saint medicine, it wouldn't be to the extent of 2 saint medicines. This guy actually dared to make such an exorbitant demand. Good, good, good. Zhanlan's expression was gloomy. He stared at the little tiger and said, good, 3 times. His voice seemed to come out from the gaps of his teeth as he said in a low voice, I will fulfill your wish. 2 stalks of sacred medicine. But if you lose, all of your battle servants will also belong to me. When Zhanlan finished speaking, he took out 2 simple brocade boxes from his Jiankuan bag and opened them. Boom. The instant the brocade box was opened, 2 rays of light overflowed into the sky. The mysterious runes of the talisman covered the sky and covered the sunset glow, making it seem as if the sun was shining in the sky. 2 rich fragrances accompanied by monstrous energy swept out. Buzz! Heaven and earth trembled, and the sound of wind and thunder could be heard. It was like the sound of heaven. Heaven and earth changed, and energy overflowed into the sky. The entire city shook, and countless gazes looked over from afar. An obscure aura also immediately and quietly descended. Saint medicine, 2 types of saint medicine. Oh my God! This is the first time I've seen saint medicine. If I can get a stalk of saint medicine, it will be enough for me to improve immediately. When the 2 brocade boxes were opened, 2 waves of energy surged into the sky, causing heaven and earth to change. The atmosphere in the entire square also reached its boiling point. The sound waves gathered and uncontrollably rose into the sky, shaking the entire city. At this moment, it was as if the curtains of the Beast Alliance meeting had been lifted. Sky Sun Scarlet Heart Fruit, Purple Gold Blood Lingji Mushroom. When such saint medicine appeared, Qing Long, Xiaogu, and Xian Tu's expressions changed. Zhanlan actually had 2 stalks of saint medicine on him. Looking at the Sky Sun Scarlet Heart Fruit and Purple Gold Blood Lingji Mushroom in the brocade box in Zhanlan's hand, the little tiger's pitch-black eyes began to shine. With a smile on his face, he said, Deal. As long as your battle servants win, all of them are yours. Great! Zhanlan sneered. He closed the brocade box and threw it on top of the chinquin bags piled up not far from the little tiger. He could feel that the battle servant in the square was not weak. He had been deliberately hiding his strength and had cheated many people of their treasures. Moreover, the two female battle servants beside the black-robed young man seemed to be not simple either. Therefore, Jean Lan wanted to win against the three battle servants as well. Go! Raising his hand and waving it behind him, Jean Lan signaled one of the battle servants behind him to attack. Jean Lan knew that the battle servant in the square had been hiding his strength, but he did not believe that the battle servant in the square could defeat his battle servant. Yes, master. A battle servant walked out from behind Jean Lan. He looked to be in his 30s and had a powerful aura. His eyes were bright. Boom! When the battle servant stepped onto the square, a powerful aura swept out. Kid, don't hide anymore. Show me your full strength. Otherwise, you won't even be able to take one move. The battle servant's voice was low and there was a sense of superiority in it. As Jean Lan's most valued battle servant, he had a special status in the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan. This battle servant was not simple. He could tell that Du Xiaofu had been deliberately hiding his true strength. Du Xiaofu remained unmoved when facing the combat servant, and his gaze was calm. However, a strand of surging aura within his body was like an awakened ferocious beast, and it gradually effused out. As his aura effused out, a strand of formidable profound energy silently surged out, shot into the sky, and shook the heavens and the earth. Boom! The void trembled and the aura surged. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's aura had clearly reached the domain realm. His face was no longer pale and had regained its color. His aura was no longer weak and he stood like a powerful ferocious beast. This battle servant has really been hiding his strength. He's at the domain realm. Bastard, shameless, this guy lied to us. When Du Xiaofu released the aura of the domain realm, everyone was dumbfounded. Those demonic beast kings who had lost everything vomited blood and cursed loudly. That master and servant had been tricking them all this time, pretending to be an arrow at the end of its flight. They had been baiting them step by step. Domain realm, this is your true strength. Unfortunately, there's a huge gap between the same level of domain realm. The expression of the battle servant did not change in the face of the domain stage aura that Du Xiaofu had released at this moment. With a cold laugh, a surging aura that was not the slightest bit inferior to the former erupted like a volcano, accompanied by the rumbling sound of wind and thunder as it whizzed out. Everyone could feel that this aura was even more powerful than the former. When this aura filled the square and thunder rumbled, a smile appeared on Jean Lan's face. If Jean Lan wanted to take that pile of treasures, it would be worth a lot. It was comparable to almost 2 Saint Herbs. I'll let you make the first move. Jean Lan's battle servant stared at Du Xiaofu with an overbearing aura. How noisy! Du Xiaofu spoke as he stomped his foot on the ground. A strand of powerful, profound energy instantly erupted with him at the center, and his aura surged to the point it caused the hearts of others to tremble. With Du Xiaofu's ability, strength, and the miraculous disguise technique, it was extremely easy for him to conceal his profound energy, causing others to be unable to discern any clues or sense the aura of the golden-winged rocks. However, when Du Xiaofu's aura was released at this moment, those beast kings who'd lost everything felt like crying but had no tears to shed, and they cursed endlessly in their hearts. If they knew this battle servant was so strong, they wouldn't have bet on it. Swish! Du Xiaofu made a move. He formed seals with his hands, and then he slapped out with his palm. It was swift like a bolt of lightning. Umph! The battle servant didn't dare be careless when he saw this. A yellow-colored storm of profound energy erupted directly and shot into the sky. It even carried the aura of lightning, causing lightning to descend from the sky, and it caused the hearts of others to tremble. Jean Lan's battle servant is so formidable. The spectators couldn't help but exclaim with shock. Needless to say, Jean Lan's battle servant was very strong. Boom! Jean Lan's battle servant made a move. He didn't retreat when facing Du Xiaofu, and instead he advanced. An energy beam accompanied by fluctuations of lightning suddenly swept out, pierced through the void, and collided with Du Xiaofu's palm. In merely an instant, it arrived before Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's palm changed, and his 5 fingers curled into a claw. The void in front of him suddenly distorted, and he directly avoided the energy beam. At the same time, the claw was already in front of the battle servant. The battle servant's face sank, and his figure swiftly dodged in an inconceivable arc. Then he smashed a fist towards Du Xiaofu's chest. Thus, the two of them entered an intense confrontation. Bang, bang. Occasionally, a muffled sound like thunder would ring out. The two of them violently collided, and both of them were forced to retreat. However, everyone could feel that Zhang Lan's battle servant was slightly superior. After exchanging over 100 blows, Du Xiaofu was suppressed, but he wasn't completely suppressed. Zhang Lan's battle servant didn't want to continue fighting. He activated his martial vein, and the void shook. His aura surged. Du Xiaofu made a move. Many beasts activated their martial veins, but they were firmly suppressed. Their aura grew weaker and their faces paled. They looked more and more miserable. Boom! The middle-aged battle servant made a move. Under the suppression of his martial vein, his fist carried the power of his trump card, and it landed heavily on Du Xiaofu's chest. At that moment, many demonic beast experts could clearly see that the battle servant was probably going to lose this time. However, just as everyone thought that Du Xiaofu was about to lose, another unforeseen event occurred. Just as the fist landed on Du Xiaofu's chest, a treasured saber appeared in Du Xiaofu's hand, and it also pierced through Zhang Lan's battle servant's chest. Swish, blood spurted out. The two of them were on the verge of breaking out. Zhang Lan's battle servant spat out blood, and his chest was dripping with blood. He was directly pierced through, and his face instantly turned ashen. Du Xiaofu staggered back a dozen steps. His face was also pale. He stamped his foot on the ground, and only then did he stabilize his body. Chapter 2293. You tricked me. Zhang Lan's battle servant pointed at Du Xiaofu and said. At this moment, only the battle servant himself knew that the blade didn't take his life. It had avoided his vitals, but a terrifying force had seriously injured him to the point where he couldn't fight anymore. Zhang Lan's battle servant fell to the ground powerlessly. The terrifying force in that blade had even injured his primordial spirit. It was too terrifying. Zhang Lan's battle servant has lost. Sigh, he was too careless. Lord Zhang Lan's battle servant is stronger, but he was too careless. If he had used his vain spirit and weapon, he would have won for sure. That brat is so cunning. He fought with his life on the line, but secretly used his weapon. It's probably a half-step sacred tool. He won against Lord Zhang Lan's battle servant. After a short silence, the surroundings were in an uproar. Many people felt that Zhang Lan's battle servant was too careless. If he had used his vain spirit and weapon, he definitely wouldn't have been taken advantage of and wouldn't have lost to the battle servant. At this moment, Zhang Lan was also in a daze. He saw with his own eyes that the other party's battle servant didn't hide anything this time, but still won. His battle servant was obviously careless. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given the other party a chance. I said that my battle servant is invincible. Sacred medicine, I'm rich. I'm rich today. Little Tiger laughed loudly. He really couldn't help but laugh. He won another 2 sacred medicines. This was a big deal. If this was outside, he wouldn't have the chance to cheat like this. Only the beast race here had a lot of saint herbs and saint artifacts. Hearing Little Tiger's laughter, Zhang Lan's face darkened. Not only did he lose the sacred medicine, but he also lost face. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu looked at each other and secretly smiled. They originally thought that Du Xiaofu had nothing better to do, but now that they saw that he even won the sacred medicine, they realized that this guy and Little Tiger were singing the same tune. This was simply a robbery. It was even safer and faster than robbing. Is there anyone else who wants to bet? This is the last chance. Is there anyone else who dares to go up? Little Tiger shouted loudly, hoping to win some more sacred herbs and sacred artifacts. You're not exchanging your battle servant? Xian Tu asked Little Tiger, his eyes flashing. Of course. My battle servant is invincible. Of course I'm not exchanging it, Little Tiger vowed. I only have one sacred medicine. I will bet. Your celestial sun's scarlet fruit. However, my sacred medicine is heaven's sun. Scarlet is heaven's sun's, is? Xian Tu looked at Little Tiger, as if Xian Tu seemed Tu's, no. Xian's God's God. Xian. You has Xian God. Hearing Little Tiger's words, Xian Tu's expression darkened. He originally wanted to take advantage of Little Tiger, but now it seemed that the other party wasn't stupid. Little Tiger paused and looked at Xian Tuesday. How about this? It's getting dark. Let's make the bet a bit bigger. You take out all your Qiankuan bags. I don't know how many there are in them, but if you win, everything in front of me will belong to you, including the battle servant. If you lose, everything in your Qiankuan bag will belong to me. Little Tiger stared at Xian Tu, afraid that Xian Tu would secretly take something out of his Qiankuan bag. This? Xian Tu hesitated. He thought that the other party didn't want to bet anymore. He didn't expect that the other party wanted to raise the stakes. There were many treasures in his Qiankuan bags. So you're scared? The other party is pretty much exhausted. You don't dare. Zhan Lan said, looking at Xian Tuesday. He wanted to regain some face. Does your heart ache from losing? I'll win it back for you. Xian Tu rolled his eyes at Zhan Lan. Looking at Little Tiger, he seemed to have made up his mind. He took out several Qiankuan bags and tossed them onto the pile of Qiankuan bags. Then it's a deal. Lord Xian Tu also wants to bet. Lord Xian Tu had also placed a bet. Could that mysterious battle servant still win? Okay, it's a deal. Little Tiger nodded, smiling from the bottom of his heart. Boom! A tall and straight silhouette flew out, floating in the air like duckweed in the water. Then he landed on the square, and an incomparably powerful aura swept out. This was a middle-aged man. His appearance was unremarkable and his figure wasn't tall, but the powerful aura he exuded made it so that no one dared to underestimate him. There was no doubt that Xian Tu's battle servant was no weaker than Zhan Lan's battle servant. It was no wonder Xian Tu dared to place such a large bet. Boom! Xian Tu's battle servant stepped onto the stage. Without a word, he leapt forward, his peak domain realm aura completely unreserved as he lunged at Du Xiaofu. As he leapt forward, he activated his martial vein and covered his entire body in talisman inscriptions. He punched out. The punch of this combat servant seemed to have merged with his martial vein. It shone brilliantly and dazzlingly, causing the surrounding space to distort as rays of light spread out. They were like flashing lightning, emitting crackling sounds as they pierced through space. At this moment, the battle servant's aura was extraordinary. His body was wrapped in light, his aura surging like a flood. His punch was like a thunderclap. The battle servant used his full strength, even fusing with his martial vein. He didn't show the slightest bit of carelessness. He wanted to kill Du Xiaofu and destroy him, not defeat him. He didn't want his master Xian Tu to accept this battle servant. A defeated opponent wasn't worthy of being his companion. Peak Domain Realm. This is his true strength. He's definitely going to win. Lord Xian Tu's battle servant is too strong. That guy's definitely going to lose. The crowd paled. It turned out that Xian Tu's battle servant was this strong. Peak Domain Realm, even many of the monster kings present would find it difficult to deal with him. Xian Tu was ranked 8th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance, and his battle servant was also this strong. Zhan Lan also paled. It was clear that Xian Tu's battle servant was much stronger than his. If Xian Tu won, not only would he gain great benefits, his reputation would also soar. Swish! Du Xiaofu attacked. His hands formed a seal, his eyes flashing with light. A vast wave of origin spirit energy swept out, intimidating the divine soul. 9-star Lord Domain Realm Peak Talisman Master, Dual Cultivation Battle Servant. Xian Tu's face paled as he cried out in alarm. But it was too late. An inconceivable change took place. Xian Tu's battle servant's terrifying attack suddenly stopped, and for some reason his eyes went blank. At practically the exact same moment, everyone clearly noticed that Du Xiaofu's figure had appeared before the combat servant, and then the profound energy within his body surged explosively as his fist smashed down forcefully onto the combat servant's forehead. Boom! There was a dull thud as the battle servant's body exploded into a bloody mist, starting from the head. The battle servant had used a killing move from the get-go, merciless and vicious. Du Xiaofu hadn't wanted to take the battle servant's life. He had only wanted to defeat them one by one. But now, he showed no mercy to Xian Tu's battle servant, killing him at just the right moment. The entire place was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Huff! After a long while, the sound of cold air being sucked in could be heard. No one had expected this result. They had thought that Xian Tu's battle servant's victory was assured, but he had been instantly killed in the final blow. A talisman master, a nascent spirit attack. That battle servant hid his strength well. A peak 9-star Lord Domain Realm Talisman Master. That's the battle servant's true strength. Some of the beast race experts saw through the clues. The battle servant was a peak 9-star Lord Domain Realm Talisman Master. His nascent spirit attack had caught Xian Tu's battle servant off guard and instantly killed him. Qin Long watched quietly from the side. He was not too surprised. He had known that the battle servant was a dual cultivator. Qin Long wasn't surprised that Xian Tu's battle servant had been defeated, but he was still shocked. Xiao Gu, on the other hand, was rather surprised. Thank you for letting me win. The little tiger laughed without restraint. Xian Tu's cosmos pouches probably contained a lot of good stuff. At the very least, there should be some saint-level herbs. Xian Tu's face was ashen. He had thought that victory was almost certain. His battle servant had used a killing move right off the bat and hadn't been careless in the slightest, but he had still been tricked. The opponent's battle servant was a talisman master. Anyone would be affected by a nascent spirit attack if they were caught off guard. Xian Tu had bet everything he had. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but want to vomit blood. His heart was pounding. I don't think anyone will dare to continue. As the little tiger spoke, he was about to put away all the cosmos pouches and saint-level herbs. Hold on. Does your battle servant dare to continue? These words came out of Xiao Gu's mouth. He looked at Xiao Hu with a faint fighting spirit surging in his eyes. The little tiger hesitated as if he didn't want to continue. There are 2 saint herbs, 6 saint artifacts, and quite a few half-saint herbs in the cosmos sack. There are also quite a few priceless ancient blood essences. If you fight again and win, everything in my cosmos sack will belong to you. But if you lose, I only want half of the things in front of you, and that battle servant as well. Xiao Gu's eyes lit up. He took out a lot of cosmos pouches and looked at the little tiger. This bet isn't ordinary. Everyone was shocked. Xiao Gu's bet wasn't ordinary. 2 saint-level herbs, 6 saint-level weapons, half saint-level herbs, and ancient essence blood. Any one of them was a great treasure. Hearing this, the little tiger looked at the cosmos pouch in Xiao Gu's hand. His eyes lit up and he clenched his teeth. He nodded and said to Xiao Gu, "Deal." Xiao Gu smiled and threw the cosmos pouch over. He looked back and said, "Go, I want that battle servant alive." Chapter 2294. Yes, Master. A figure walked out from behind Xiao Gu. He looked to be in his 40s and wore a battle robe. His eyes were deep and bright as he leapt onto the square. Boom! When the battle servant stepped onto the stage, a vast and mighty aura was released in an instant. It surged through the void, and even the square that was protected by the seal shook. Master Domain! When the battle servant's aura was released, everyone exclaimed. The aura of a Master Domain. That battle servant had actually reached the Master Domain realm. How powerful was he? Not many of the monster kings present could do anything to him. Zhanlan was also shocked. He hadn't expected the battle servant to be so strong. Although the mysterious battle servant was a rare dual cultivator, after several consecutive battles, he probably had no chance of winning. However, When he saw Xian Tu's battle servant defeated in one move, Zhan Lan felt much better. But when he thought of the sacred elixirs he had lost, he wanted to vomit blood. It would be difficult to explain himself when he returned to his clan. This is big trouble. The middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan who had been following them had a solemn expression. These people should have retreated after winning so many treasures. But now, Ancient Zhao's battle servant was a master realm expert. Boom! Xiao Gu's battle servant didn't say anything and directly attacked. The profound energy in his body surged, and he instantly launched an attack. He stepped forward and stretched out his hand. Mysterious runes rushed out, crushing the void as he tried to suppress Du Xiaofu. Boom! As the battle servant attacked, a strange mist gushed out from the surrounding void. The sound of wind and thunder shook the square. The battle servant knew that Du Xiaofu was a spirit talisman master and was afraid of spirit attacks, so he chose to attack at close range. He wanted to suppress Du Xiaofu first. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu did not bat an eyelid. His hands were already glowing brilliantly, and at the same time his hand seals had already been successfully condensed. Dazzling array flags shot out, and the mysterious runes on them were dazzling as they soared into the sky. Rumble. Immediately afterwards, the plaza released a loud noise that sounded like thunder. It was world-shaking, erupting with resplendent radiance. At this moment, everyone was shocked. That terrifying aura was shocking. It was like a bolt of lightning had suddenly descended. The violent fluctuations in the sky trembled because of it. Dazzling runes suddenly spread throughout the sky, causing the entire space to rumble and tremble. A powerful symbol array appeared, instantly shrouding Ancient Zhao's battle servant. Endless rune energy distorted space, and finally, the symbol array covered the sky. High in the sky, the clouds surged, and the world darkened. 9-star Domain Peak Talisman Array, an illusion array. Xiao Gu's expression immediately changed. That battle servant was a spirit talisman master and an even lesser array master. What he used was the strangest illusion array. This illusory formation is extraordinary. As the talisman array appeared, countless gazes were filled with astonishment. Some of the beasts understood that this talisman array was definitely not ordinary. That battle servant is actually a talisman master. The surrounding people discussed animatedly and their expressions changed. No one had expected that at the last moment, the battle servant would actually set up such a powerful illusory formation. He was a talisman master that was the most difficult to provoke among talisman masters. Talisman Array. The middle-aged battle servant of the Baifeng Divine Bird clan was pleasantly surprised at this moment. His nervous gaze fluctuated with excitement. When the illusory formation appeared, the light shone in all directions and soared into the sky. It even attracted the attention of many obscure auras. Du Xiaofu's figure also disappeared in the illusory formation. The surrounding space distorted, and the bright light covered all the prying eyes. Bang bang bang. As a few muffled sounds came from the illusory formation, the talisman array began to dissipate, and the powerful aura slowly dissipated. Two figures appeared in the field. Under everyone's gaze, Du Xiaofu's figure was shaken back. For some reason, his face was pale, and there seemed to be a faint trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He seemed to be forcefully swallowing. What's going on? Who won? It seems that Lord Ancient Zhao's battle servant won. That talisman array couldn't do anything to him. Many gazes around were very surprised. They couldn't see anything inside the talisman array. Bang! Just as the voice fell, Ancient Zhao's battle servant directly fell to the ground. Blood flowed from his mouth. He struggled several times but couldn't get up again. He won again. Everyone exclaimed. That mysterious battle servant actually won again. This was too shocking. Even Lord Ancient Zhao's battle servant had won. It was unbelievable. He won again. The middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan were boiling with excitement. However, Ancient Zhao's face was green and red. He clearly felt that victory was in his grasp, but he didn't expect the battle servant to throw out an illusory formation in the end. With ancient Zhao's cultivation, he naturally understood that the battle servant had relied on the illusory formation to directly defeat his battle servant. Although his battle servant was by no means weak and had counterattacked at the last moment, under the influence of the illusory formation, his strength was greatly affected. In the end, he should have been able to heavily injure the former, but he himself was heavily injured and defeated. Sorry, I won again. The little tiger laughed. He walked to the pile of qiankuan pouches and brocade boxes with Saint herbs in front of him. His eyes lit up and he kept saying, "Today's luck isn't bad. There are so many Saint herbs and Saint artifacts. I've struck it rich." Looking at the little tiger, everyone's eyes were red. Everyone reckoned that at this moment, that guy had already won a lot of saintly medicines. A single saintly medicine was enough to tempt even a saint beast tier elite, let alone so many saintly medicines, as well as so many saint tools and precious treasures. However, no one dared to snatch it. This was the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan, and the battle servant had a long history of gambling. If anyone dared to snatch it, the entire Beast Alliance wouldn't let them off. In the face of such a great temptation, they could only endure it in the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to walk out of the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan. "Come back. That's all for today," the little tiger said to Du Xiaofu. His eyes secretly turned, and he was about to put away the pile of qiankuan pouches and treasures in front of him. Wait. At this moment, Qin Long spoke. He looked at the little tiger and said, "You've been hiding your strength. You've won so much. Let's fight again. It's getting dark. If you want to fight, wait until tomorrow." The little tiger shook his head and refused to fight again. "It won't take long. Otherwise, it won't make sense for you to leave after winning so much," Qin Long said. He looked around and said, "Ask the various clans if they'll let you leave. You can't just leave. You've won against all of us by hiding your strength. How can you just leave? You have to fight again." With Qin Long's call, loud shouts could be heard from the surroundings. The crowd was riled up, and they couldn't bear to see that guy leave after winning so many treasures. The little tiger looked around and didn't want to provoke the crowd. He looked at Qin Long and said, "What do you want? Your battle servant wants to fight again?" "That's right. Let's have the last fight," Qin Long said with a faint smile. On his handsome face, there was a pair of dark brown eyes that shone with a charming luster. He saw clearly that the battle servant was severely injured in the illusory array. He was truly at the end of his rope. The pile of treasures and sacred elixirs was practically a treasure trove. He definitely couldn't let it go. The stakes are extraordinarily high now. The little tiger stared at Qin Long and said, "I have 3 sacred fruits, 10 sacred weapons and a portion of ancient dragon's blood. Their value is not lower than a sacred fruit. I have many other treasures as well. You can take as many as you want. You can check them. Moreover, I must have your battle servant." Qin Long took out a few qiankuan bags. "Oh gosh. Qin Long has so many treasures with him." As soon as Qin Long's voice fell, everyone was dumbfounded. Qin Long actually carried so many treasures with him. I heard that Qin Long encountered a relic on his way here and obtained many treasures. These sacred elixirs and sacred weapons might have been obtained from the relic. Someone seemed to know something and pointed out some clues. Qin Long had obtained a great opportunity on his way here. Otherwise, no one would bring out so many treasures. Even Qin Long wouldn't dare to do so. Alright. However, if you want to fight, you have to abide by my rules. I will bet on you and everyone around you, including the battle servants' qiankuan bags. If you win, everything in front of me will be yours. If you lose, this will be the last round, and I'll leave with the treasures." Little Tiger stared at Qin Long with a serious expression in his deep, dark eyes. His gaze flickered with uncertainty. "All right, no problem." Qin Long nodded. When he saw the flickering expression in the little tiger's eyes, he felt that the battle servant was truly at the end of his rope. However, Qin Long didn't want to miss the opportunity to subdue such a dual cultivation battle servant who was also an array talisman master. "Take out your qiankuan bags. When the time comes, I will give you all the treasures in your Qiankuan bags. Qing Long turned around and said to the kings behind him, Of course, we will support brother Qing Long. The beast kings that followed Qing Long were overjoyed. They took out all their Qiankuan bags and tossed them in front of little tiger one after another. Boom! At the same time, the void vibrated for no reason. A tall but extremely thin figure walked out from behind Qing Long. The figure was a little strange. He was wearing a long robe that fluttered in the wind like a long skirt. A terrifying aura emanated from his body. The person's face couldn't be seen clearly as the robe covered half of his head. As the figure took a few steps forward, it was as if the ground beneath his feet had shrunk into an inch. As he walked into the arena, the hood that covered his head was also lifted by the withered hand, revealing a sharp face. His eyes emitted a frightening cold light, and his face was withered and pale like a zombie. There were even a few long scars on his face. Old Man Een Dragon. Oh my God, it's Old Man Een Dragon. Old Man Een Dragon of the 8 Desolation Monster Dragon Tribe. It's actually this guy. When the person appeared, the surrounding gazes trembled. Who is this battle servant? Some of the younger kings were surprised as they didn't know Old Man Een Dragon. This person almost won the title of the strongest battle servant in the last Beast Alliance meeting. He has always been the top battle servant of the 8 Desolation Monster Dragon Tribe. After so many years, his strength should have improved a lot. An older generation of kings informed them of Old Man Een Dragon's identity. This doesn't seem to be against the rules. A young king whispered. According to the unwritten rules, the battle servant duels were usually between the younger generation. Battle servants who had cultivated for thousands of years or even longer were not allowed to participate. Don't talk nonsense. Some kings immediately whispered. Old Man Een Dragon had won so much and angered everyone. Coupled with Qing Long's identity, no one cared about this at this moment. Anyway, it was only an unwritten rule that didn't explicitly state it. Qing Long's eyes were mesmerizing as he smiled. Old Man Een Dragon's strength was enough to win. He had won a pile of sacred herbs and sacred weapons effortlessly. The harvest was even greater than exploring an ancient ruin. There was no need to worry about the great danger involved. Bastard! Zhan Lan, Xiao Gu, Xian Tu and the others had rather displeased expressions. In the end, Qing Long had actually taken advantage of them. Qing Long must have purposely allowed Old Man Een Dragon to hide and only attacked at the end. Kid, let's end this. Old Man Een Dragon didn't delay and attacked directly. Old Man Een Dragon had already seen Du Xiaofu and naturally wouldn't be polite. He formed a hand seal and stretched out his hand. A claw mark tore through the void and instantly extended towards Du Xiaofu. Chi La. When such a claw mark swept out, the void was directly distorted like a fried dough twist. A wave of resplendent talisman runes rushed out like a wave. In the end, it condensed into the shadow of a dragon that rushed out with a roar, causing people to tremble. The claw mark tore through the void like a dragon galloping. Dragon runes fluctuated, accompanied by dragon might. Rumble. The terrifying aura above the claw mark caused the world to tremble and rumble. There was a deafening dragon roar. The scene was shocking and terrifying. At this moment, Old Man Een Dragon didn't hold back his aura and swept out like a raging tide. He's almost at the peak of the Overlord realm. Old Man Een Dragon is so strong. When Old Man Een Dragon attacked, everyone exclaimed. Old Man Een Dragon was far more powerful than Xiao Gu's battle servant. At this moment, no one thought that the mysterious battle servant could still win. Old Man Een Dragon was just too strong. The claw mark tore through the void like a dragon claw and instantly swept towards Old Man Een Dragon. It was as if space was being torn apart, capable of destroying everything. Under such a claw mark, some people even thought that the mysterious battle servant was at the end of his tether and wouldn't be able to take a single blow. Only Little Tiger, Ouyang Shuang, Dai Xingyu, Qing Wan and Xiao Qing weren't worried at all. Even Little Tiger was no longer solemn and had a smile on his face. Qing Long was full of confidence. The opportunity had finally arrived. The harvest this time was probably enough for him to take another step forward and have hope of stepping into the Saint realm. Things don't look good. Suddenly, Qinglong looked at little tiger and the others. When he saw the relaxed expressions of the little tiger and the others without any worry, he felt a little uneasy. The smiles of those fellows caused Qinglong to feel an indescribable sense of unease in his heart. Everything happened very quickly. Du Xiaofu attacked. In the face of such a claw mark, Du Xiaofu stomped his foot on the ground of the square. An extremely ferocious aura soared into the sky at this moment. The ground of the square, which was reinforced by the seal, cracked continuously from the soles of his feet. Boom! At this moment, Du Xiaofu shook his arm and fiercely punched the claw mark that tore through the void. The mysterious runes of the talisman before the punch exploded. Qi waves rumbled like the stampede of 10,000 beasts. It was extremely terrifying and terrifying. At this moment, Du Xiaofu no longer looked weak. He had clearly climbed to the peak and his aura had reached a huge level. Boom! With a loud explosion, Qi waves surged into the sky. The mysterious runes of the talisman shattered like a tide. The muffled sound was deafening and made everyone tremble with fear. The fist and the claw collided, causing the surrounding void to explode. The terrifying Qi waves tore through a large area of the void as if they were going to shatter the world. At this moment, Qinglong's heart trembled violently. In just a short moment, under everyone's gaze, old man Yinlong spat out a mouthful of blood. His skinny body flew backward like a kite that had broken its string. He crashed into the square 100 feet away, causing the square to tremble. Old man Yinlong was dripping with blood. His right hand was badly mangled. It was a withered palm that had been shattered by the punch. Old man Yinlong wanted to get up, but he spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted. Old man Yinlong had been defeated in one move. Qinglong's eyes trembled and his feet trembled. He almost retreated. There were 3 saint fruits in his Jiankuan bag. There was also the blood essence of the ancient dragons, which was what Qinglong valued the most. The blood essence of the ancient dragons was what he urgently needed to improve his bloodline. But now, he had lost in the blink of an eye. The whole square was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded and could not recover from their shock for a long time. The middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan had closed his eyes. When he sensed the silence around him, he slowly opened his eyes. When he saw the commotion in the square, a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. He could not help but exclaim, we won again." It took a long time for the people around to recover from their shock. Some people wiped their eyes as if they could not believe what had happened. One move, another move. Old man Yinlong had been defeated in one move. How terrifying was that? Phew, gasps could be heard one after another. This was too unbelievable. The mysterious battle servant had won again. Zhan Lan, Xian Tu, Xiao Gu and the others were also shocked. They had thought that Qinglong was going to have an advantage. Who would have thought that old man Yinlong would be defeated in one move, unable to withstand a single blow? Bastard, you tricked me! After a short silence, Qinglong could no longer remain calm. He glared at the little tiger and shouted. At this moment, no matter how stupid Qinglong was, he understood that this was a trap, a huge trap. That guy had been luring him to take the final bait. He had deliberately shown that he did not want to continue the battle and pretended to be in a difficult position. Even in the illusion array, he had deliberately pretended that he had been severely injured by Xiao Gu's battle servant. Everything was to lure him into this huge trap. Qinglong thought that victory was in his hands, but in the end, he had lost everything he had. A bet is a bet. A loss is a loss. Do you want to go back on your word? The little tiger stared at Qinglong, his dark eyes emitting a domineering light. Then, he raised his head slightly and looked at the void to one side. Under the cover of the sunset, his voice sounded, "Your Excellency, you have been watching for so long. It's time to come out. Let's have the final battle. Only your battle servant is qualified to have a real battle with my battle servant." When the little tiger said this, everyone's eyes suddenly turned to the little tiger. The sunset covered half the sky, but there was no figure on the towering city tower. But at this moment, only Xiaogu, Qing Long, Xian Tu, Zhan Lan and the others were shocked. 2 chapters combined into one. There was a mistake in the previous chapter. Du Xiaofu should have pretended to be a 9-star domain talisman master, not a 9-star main domain talisman master. I'll correct it here. Xiao Yu apologizes for affecting the reading. Some readers say that these chapters are too long. Everyone, bear with it for 2 more chapters. It's mainly to pave the way for the next few chapters. There will be a hot-blooded plot soon. Xiao Yu, continue to write. I'll update it around midnight. Chapter 2295. Qi La. The sound of wind breaking resounded in the void as 2 figures flew out from the towering city tower. With just a flash, 2 figures landed on the field. They were 2 young men. When everyone's eyes fell on the young man in front, they suddenly trembled. The surrounding demonic beast kings also lowered their heads silently, not daring to look directly at him. Even Qing Long, Zhan Lan, Xiaogu, and Xian Tu lowered their heads respectfully when they saw the young man at the front. The young man in the lead had a slender figure. He had bright eyes and white teeth. His thin lips were as red as blood. His handsome face gave people a feeling of elegance, danger, and a little seductiveness. His aura was complicated and noble. As for the young man following beside him, he also had an extraordinary appearance. He wore a battle robe, had a valiant appearance, and had long hair that draped over his shoulders. His eyes were like stars. Luo Shang. A woman in the crowd couldn't help but voice out. The young man at the front caused all the gazes in the stadium to be thrown over. For no reason, the atmosphere of the entire stadium froze. Du Xiaofu's gaze also landed on the young man at the front. From his name, he knew the identity of this person. Luo Shang was ranked 2nd among the top 10 experts of the younger generation in the Beast Alliance. She was the paragon of the distant Sky Flame Phoenix clan. Du Xiaofu informed the little tiger about Luo Shang's existence through telepathy. Luo Shang had been paying attention to them all this while. Although she had concealed her aura, she could not escape Du Xiaofu's detection. Not below Du Gefenshen and Dong Li Ruoshu. This was Du Xiaofu's evaluation of Luo Shang. Her aura was so well hidden that it was hard to detect. It wasn't that Du Xiaofu couldn't detect it, but he didn't dare to do so in the Baifeng divine bird tribe. Luo Shang landed on the field and glanced at Du Xiaofu. Then, she looked at the little tiger and said, "I didn't expect the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan to have so many talents." Luo Shang's voice was very pleasant to the ears, like a beautiful piece of music. He could feel the aura of the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan hidden in the little tiger's body. However, when they heard Luo Shang's words, they were as shocked as when Du Xiaofu had defeated Old Man Yin Dragon. Dark Heavenly Tiger, he's from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan. Numerous gazes landed on the little tiger. The background of the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan was too great. Many people were secretly trembling. No wonder he had such a terrifying battle servant. It turned out that the black-robed young man was from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan. Zhan Lan, Xian Tu, and Xiaogu also paled. So that guy was from the Dark Sky Tiger race. But strangely, they had never seen such a cunning guy before. Cut the crap. Only your battle servant has the right to fight with my battle servant. Do you want to make a bet? I'll accept as much as you want. If you don't dare, then forget it, Little Tiger said casually as he waved his sleeves. Your provocation doesn't work on me. Did Hu Pao ask you to test me? Luo Shang looked at Little Tiger. Her silky red hair flowed down like silk and her seductive red eyes revealed a faint smile. She paused for a moment, then said to Little Tiger, "But I'll fulfill your wish and I'll fulfill Hu Pao's wish." When her pleasant voice fell, a cosmos sac appeared in Luo Shang's slender white hands. She continued, "I've been training in the ancient lands for the past 3 years. I've gained a lot. 3 saint fruits, 2 sacred herbs, 3 Archean sacred artifacts, and 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. It's enough to compare to everything in front of you." As she spoke, Luo Shang threw the cosmos sack in her hands onto the pile of cosmos sacks in front of Little Tiger and said, "You can check it first." Oh my god. Lord Luo Shang actually has so many treasures on her. Everyone's eyes were red as they stared fixedly at Luo Shang's cosmos sack. 3 saint fruits, 2 sacred herbs, 3 Archean sacred artifacts, and 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. Any one of them was enough to attract the attention of a sacred beast realm expert. 3 Archean sacred artifacts, 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. Their value would not be less than that of a sacred herb. It was indeed more valuable than the pile of treasures in front of Little Tiger. Qing Long's expression changed. He had originally thought that he had already obtained enough treasures from the ancient lands. However, he had not expected Luo Shang to have gained so much in the past 3 years of training in the ancient lands. It seemed that she had explored many dangerous places. Ouyang Shuang, Qing Luan, Xiao Qing, Dai Xingyu, and the others were so shocked that they could not stop gaping. The demonic beasts inside the ancient lands actually had so many treasures on them. Even the vast land of the 3 continents, Kyushu region in the outside world, could not be compared to the demonic beasts inside the ancient lands. It was no wonder that the demonic beasts inside the ancient lands had much more time to cultivate compared to the outside world. The resources for cultivation were much more abundant. The middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan and the other battle servants were shocked speechless when they saw the bets that had doubled. "There's no need to check. You're so good-looking, I'll believe you no matter what you say." Little Tiger could not contain his excitement. 3 saint fruits, 2 sacred herbs, 3 Archean sacred artifacts, and 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. He had really struck it rich today. "Then let's begin," Luo Shang said faintly. "Let's begin." Little Tiger nodded. He could not wait to begin and end as soon as possible so that he could keep all the treasures in his bag as soon as possible. "Go, the opponent is very strong. There's no need to stay behind," Luo Shang said to the battle servant in battle robes behind her. "Yes." The battle servant in battle robes nodded. There was a flash of light under his feet and his figure disappeared from the spot. In the next instant, the many living beings in the square noticed that the battle servant in battle robes had arrived in the middle of the square and was facing Du Xiaofu from afar. The battle servant was tall and straight. His battle robes were majestic, and his long hair was loose. He gave off a majestic and unapproachable feeling. In terms of aura, he had already suppressed Du Xiaofu. "Make your move. It's not the nature of a man to keep hiding." The battle servant in battle robes spoke. His voice was magnetic and could penetrate the void. When it landed in the ears of the living beings, it caused their eardrums to ring. "You're already a battle servant. How can you still talk about being a man?" Du Xiaofu said as he looked at the battle servant in battle robes. Such a battle servant was extraordinary. Du Xiaofu could easily tell that this battle servant was a nirvana supremacy with his primordial spirit. A nirvana supremacy had actually become a battle servant here. Du Xiaofu felt that it was a pity. "I asked you to make a move, but you refused. Then I'll do it." The expression in the battle servant's eyes changed. Du Xiaofu's words had undoubtedly stimulated him slightly. Boom. As soon as the battle servant spoke, the ground in the surroundings rumbled while space warped, and it formed a terrifying area of frozen space. The former didn't waste any time. He formed a seal with his hand, and talisman markings sprayed out from his palm. A palm seal condensed, and it seemed to have transformed into a 5-fingered mountain that descended from the sky and crushed down towards Du Xiaofu. Boom. The square seemed to have been confined beneath the palm seal. Divine radiance fluctuated in a dazzling and resplendent manner, and the pressure it gave off caused the hearts of the living beings in the surroundings to tremble with fear. Boom. But in an instant, a muffled explosion resounded. The palm seal that was like a 5-fingered mountain exploded, and the talisman markings shattered. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared and he raised his fist. It was his fist that had shattered the battle servant's palm seal. "He's so powerful. This is his true strength." Many demonic beast experts were stunned. Luo Shang's battle servant was too powerful, but the mysterious battle servant was still able to contend against him. This was his true strength. The battle servant's expression also changed slightly. Suddenly, mysterious talismans covered his body and activated a kind of powerful martial vein. It covered the battle robe as if it had fused with the battle robe. In the end, it turned into a divine armor. Even his head was covered, only his bright eyes could be seen. Rumble! The heavenly music continued, and 3 divine rings appeared above the battle servant's head at the same time. They were dazzling, like inextinguishable divine flames, and merged with the aura on his body. At that moment, the battle servant was like a deity in the sky. How powerful was he? The aura on his body rose to the peak, and he was at the nirvana realm. A sovereign, this is a sovereign. Lord Luo Shang's battle servant is also a sovereign. This is a sovereign battle servant. It's too shocking. A sovereign battle servant. The entire place was in an uproar. Everyone's eyes were trembling. This was a sovereign battle servant. Luo Shang was a sovereign genius, and she was ranked second among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Her battle servant was so powerful that they were all sovereigns. Luo Shang was still calm, and a faint smile appeared on his handsome face. His complicated temperament had a slight charm to it, but it was enough to attract the gazes of all the women present. Zhan Lan, Qing Long, Xian Tu, and Xiao Gu's expressions changed. They also wanted to compete for the battle servant at the Beast Alliance meeting. They had originally thought that their battle servants were not bad, but now it seemed that their battle servants could not be compared to Luo Shang. They were not on the same level. Oh no, that battle servant will definitely lose. He can't win against Lord Luo Shang's battle servant. The surrounding Beast Clan experts whispered in shock. No matter what, the mysterious battle servant was going to be stopped. Rumble! The sovereign battle servant did not delay and continued to attack. His martial vein and sovereign strength were at the same time, forming a fist that exploded. Gulp! Before the fist, there seemed to be the cry of a phoenix that shook the heavens and the earth, causing many Beast Clan kings to tremble. It was a terrifying pressure that was hard to resist. That's the ancient Phoenix Fist, the ultimate move of the remote Sky Flame Phoenix clan. Some Beast Clan experts exclaimed. The ancient Phoenix Fist was the ultimate move of the remote Sky Flame Phoenix clan. They did not expect a battle servant to have comprehended it. However, the surrounding gazes quickly became shocked and relieved. It was likely that such a supreme battle servant possessed an extremely high status within the remote Sky Flame Phoenix tribe. It was not surprising that he was able to comprehend the ultimate technique of the remote Sky Flame Phoenix tribe. When the sovereign battle servant's fist landed, it was as if a huge heavenly phoenix shadow had spread its wings and swept out. The blazing aura covered the heavens and earth, filling the void and covering the sun. The aura was so strong that it was unimaginable. Du Xiaofu was tempted, but it wasn't because of this supreme battle servant. Such a sovereign battle servant was indeed extraordinary. However, even if they were at the same level, Du Xiaofu would not pay much attention to it, let alone now. Du Xiaofu had secretly moved because he had sensed many obscure auras. Among them, there were the auras of Saint Beast Realm experts. They were secretly spying on him. If he attacked too strongly, he would undoubtedly expose himself. Therefore, Du Xiaofu could not deal with it quickly. He could only continue to tangle with it. He controlled his strength and instantly formed a symbol array to avoid the ancient Phoenix Fist. The sovereign battle servant was trapped in the symbol array. His aura erupted, and his sovereign strength was vast and mighty, shaking off the symbol array. Du Xiaofu formed another symbol array and arranged it in succession. The sovereign battle servant's expression changed again. He did not expect that even after fusing his martial vein and sovereign strength, he still could not deal with the sovereign battle servant in front of him. This sovereign battle servant was very strong. Every move he made was vast and mighty, shaking the heavens and earth. The surrounding creatures were all frightened. Du Xiaofu was in a difficult situation. He relied on the advantage of the symbol array to stall for time. This made many people look at him in a new light. It was definitely not simple to be able to continuously arrange symbol arrays. After a while, the sovereign battle servant's state of mind was affected. He began to attack fiercely. Mysterious symbols flooded the void, and muffled rumbling sounds could be heard. He wanted to directly suppress Du Xiaofu and did not want to waste any more time. Du Xiaofu could not avoid it. He could only collide with it. He kept retreating and staggered back. Bang, bang, bang. The earth shook, and the ground on the square was torn apart. The void trembled, and shocking energy collided with resplendent light. That guy took a lot of elixirs. Someone was surprised to see that Du Xiaofu was constantly swallowing large amounts of elixirs during the battle. He seemed to be recovering, and it seemed like he was relying on elixirs to keep himself from collapsing. At the beginning, everyone thought that Du Xiaofu would not be able to last much longer. However, towards the end, some of the demonic beast experts could slowly sense that the sovereign battle servant was beginning to weaken. That ferocious attack was exhausting too much of his energy. It's time to end this. My true strength is at the Overlord realm. Finally, Du Xiaofu roared. His aura instantly rose, and he stepped into the Overlord realm. No one was surprised by Du Xiaofu's Overlord realm aura.